Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV Podcast 560. One day past halfway point in the year. Or something like that. We're officially on the latter half of 2025, which...
Is that right?
I don't know. I saw it on TikTok.
Then I wouldn't trust it.
I don't know. I see a lot of really brilliant stuff out there on the social medias.
And that can't be right. January, February, March, April, May.
June.
We're at June 1st right now. So 5 full months,
Uh-huh.
on average 30 days.
It's 150.
We're 150 days through. Like, at the end of June...
That would make more sense.
Would make more sense, Terry Miller.
See, there you go.
You can't trust
you just
the TikToks.
debunked TikTok.
As I do. That's what they call me, the debunker.
Is that your account?
Debunking TikTok?
Yeah.
Of course.
It's something like that. Maybe it was some other... Somebody said it was...
I'm glad I corrected you.
I'm glad you did too, because of course I saw it on the internet, so I thought it must be true.
Yeah, you just repeat everything you hear.
Somebody said we're more than halfway through, which means we're closer to 2050 than 2000. But clearly, like you're saying, we're not yet.
I don't believe we are, but...
Because halfway through 2025 would officially put you closer to 2050. That I get.
Okay, yeah, I'm glad
Maybe I misunderstood something.
Yeah, I'm glad we're getting this worked out. Jeez.
Next week in third grade math. Well, all right, so we're not there. Are we halfway through the season?
No, not
quite. It
quite.
Depends when the season. When's the season officially end? Tour Championship?
Tour Championship. It's from...
That's October.
Supreme to Tour Championship. Like,
but the Q Series?
Yeah, whatever. Month-wise, maybe, like...
But the Silver Series?
Nope, don't care. Like, saying that we started in, technically, the end of February.
Yeah, February.
You could say now might be the middle of the season.
I don't know. Either way, we're here for it. I'll start off right away because we saw some news in the last week or two. I have timed it out that you're also seeing stuff from, it happened a couple months ago. It's been edited for a couple months too, but now the timing is spot on. Samui Swine Classic, all 3 rounds of footage are out. Chiang Mai Open, final round drops tomorrow. That's literally on the internet. So if you're a YouTube channel member of my channel, you can access it already. And then we're going to have the final round of the Khmer Cup that happened in Cambodia. So definitely feeding into this planning for 2026 Asia tour is kind of the game plan that I have. Obviously, we're already talking about majors and whatnot that are going to be happening in the next couple of years, including this weekend, somewhat billed as another opportunity for practice and a practice go at it for Worlds in 2027. Did you get that vibe this weekend for the Northwest Disc Golf Championship?
I don't know, but it's so hard to say because for me, like, this event, well, yes, it is in theory a warm-up. I just always feel like, you know what? In 2 years, I bet you we see 10 different holes. The holes are changed, not necessarily different, but they're changed, they're modified, they're moved. Like, of course, everybody feels like, oh, it's too early for a warm-up. We've got 2 years to go.
Well, then let me slightly rephrase that and say, what do you love and what do you not love about what was provided this weekend? If we, in air quotes, or lightly would pencil it in as a warm-up or as a test run of sorts, what are some of the things that strike you as, yes, give me more of that, or no, let's make sure we get this changed, fixed, or adjusted before Worlds?
I don't know if there's much that needs to be changed or adjusted. This past event is really unique in that you've got... excuse me. You've got Milo, and then you've got Glendevere. 2 completely different types of courses.
They both have trees.
They do both have trees and grass.
Lush green grass. Okay.
Yeah, that's... I'm just saying that, like, Milo is so... There isn't a lot of times that a lot of distance is going to give you that much of an advantage.
Okay.
As opposed to Glendevere. So we saw that in the results. You saw some of the old school players that filtered up to the top. I'm going to pull up the scores here while I'm talking about it. if I find them here. There they are. There they are. For instance, round 1. Ulibarri shoots an 11 down, leading the event. Bradley Williams.
Spring chicken?
Yeah, spring chicken. Eagle McMahon. I wouldn't call him an old hand, but he has played very well in the Northwest in the past. He's used to it. Ricky Wysocki. Gannon Burr, you can never keep down. Kyle Klein, Corey Ellis, Calvin Heimer. I mean, you see some of these guys that played really well that know this course, particularly Yuli. And then second round, Paul McBeth comes shooting up by shooting a 12. Calvin Heimberg, Ricky, Kyle Klein, Paul Ulibarri kind of teeters off a little bit, shoots only a 6, but whatever. Bradley Williams is still up there. Barella, Connor Rock, Isaac Robinson. You see these guys that know this course. And then you go over to Glendevere. And I'm not going to lie, I wrote Yuli off. I was like, cool. I was like, cool, great. He did really well. We're going to Glendevere, and now it's a Bombers favored course. Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have the arm to keep up. And I will say that he surprised me. He came out and shot a 4 under on the third round, which kept him in it.
Okay.
And
hot round being...
Well, the hot round was a 12 by Barella, who just lit it up. I mean, there was no stopping him. And it just goes to show that this course truly does favor the long arm. You get so much advantage being able to throw that extra 50 to 75 or more. And not only that, like, we all know Anthony throws far, but kind of like Kelvin in that he can power shots. Not just like a big swooping... whatever. He is a fierce thrower of the disc on a line, on any disc, whether it's his Luna or his Raptor or his Venom. It doesn't matter. That guy throws it straight. And so after the third round, it was tied up between AB and Gannon. I mean, 2 of our furthest throwers, 2 of our youngest guys in the game, the ones that we're looking for having a rivalry. I've been talking about it for a year and a half now about this wannabe rivalry. We got it going into Sunday. It was all set up. And thinking about these courses and thinking about Worlds, we'll get back to the final round in a few minutes, but thinking about these courses, Glendevere is so pretty, but it just doesn't do a ton for me like Milo does. I mean, there are some really good shots, but it just feels like it favors long arms so much more than everybody else. Like, it's a little too heavy on that. But I don't mind it. It's a fine course. It's, again, beautiful to look at. So I'm hoping maybe that with some of the changes that they make, maybe they can make that adjustment. Because with Worlds, we're going to see 5 rounds. Mm-hmm. So, I don't know, is that going to be 3 at... I hope it's 3 at Milo, but I doubt it.
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm going to say 0 chance.
I know. That to me would even...
It will probably go Milo, Glendevere, Milo, Glendevere, Glendevere.
Okay.
I'm just thinking, Friday you're going to want, Friday in that case probably. You're going to want the big crowd. Your biggest crowd is your second to last day. Mm-hmm. Then obviously your final day, they're going to have that at Glendevere for all practical reasons in terms of the parking, the spectating, the people, the amenities, everything that's there. So that would be my guess for what we'll see. I guess there's I was going to say there's almost a 0% chance we see Milo, then 3 rounds at Glendevere. No. I think you'll see Milo, Glendevere.
Yeah, I don't like that personally. And that's only because I would love to see 3 at Milo and 2 at Glendevere. I don't mind the combination of the 2 courses. I think together they set up really well for a well-rounded event. But I don't feel like there's much of a favoritism at Milo for any particular shot. Like, it's not so much of a gap hitting event course. It's a lot of placement.
Yeah, and but don't you feel like one could argue, especially when you look at like a Smuggler's Notch, we say we kind of have the best of both worlds there, or even when you're in Peoria and you're playing Northwood Black, and then you're going over and you're playing Eureka. 2 different styles. Yeah. One favoring and featuring some gap hitting and some woods, and then one, more open, and then the more open one being the one where you have to
score.
you have to score, but I mean, you have to also finish up at, and then that's going to provide for the gallery spectator vendor experience.
Yeah, I have no issue with ending at Glendoveer. I'm good with that. Again, if I had my way, it would be 3 at Milo, 2 at Glendoveer. But as you said, I agree. I don't think that's going to be more likely. They're going to want to fit as many people as they can on for spectators, which means 3 rounds at Glendoveer. I totally understand. I just feel like Glendoveer, it just to me favors the long arm a little bit too much.
Okay.
And whereas if Milo feels very balanced. So that's just my take. Anyway, that's kind of where I'm at for this particular event.
Looking at our top finishers, if you click on especially on the finals tab, and just reading off your top finishers, is the one anomaly in the top. Keep scrolling a little bit. Top 10. We'll say until you get to Sexton, and maybe he becomes the second. And he's maybe only the second anomaly in the top 10 or 12 guys that aren't throwing 500 feet plus.
Yeah, I mean,
like Isaac Robinson being the first one, and then in the top 15, Sexton's the only other one that doesn't consistently throw. Neither of them throw 500 feet on a dime whenever they want, but everyone else in the top 10 can.
Yeah, we'll rattle them off. The winner, Gannon Burr. Tied for second place, Kyle Klein and Anthony Barella. Fourth place, Isaac Robinson. And Isaac isn't known for his cannon of an arm. He can get
slouch,
it. He can get it out there. I mean,
clearly.
You're talking 425 probably without really a problem there.
Yeah, I think even longer than that.
I'm saying 425 golf shots.
Sure.
Like
I'd say even longer. But
you think even okay? Well, I mean, I'll take your word for it.
But he is definitely not in the same breath as the 3 guys
Ezra
you mentioned before
Aderhold,
him.
or even Ricky Wysocki, Simon Lizotte, Luke Taylor,
Corey
Ellis, and then Nate
Kelvin
Sexton.
and Eagle.
Yeah, Sexton, Kelvin, and Eagle. So what does that tell you? If we have 3 rounds at Glendoveer, put your money on the big arms, boys.
Yeah.
Like this isn't. You're not going to see probably, even though Sexton did play very well on the final 2 days, he shot a 5 down, and I'm going to go to the third round here. I think it was his third round that he shot.
7 down.
And a 5 and a 7. So, no slouch, right on average, but he can't get the 10, 11, 12 that these big arms get. And to me, that kind of stinks. But that's why we have 2 at Milo as well. Ultimately, this final round kind of felt like it came down to it. I think I told you before we came on, it was a match. Nobody wanted this event, it felt like. We went to the 8th. We got to like the 8th. No, I'm sorry, the 10th hole. And going into the round, it was tied at 27. But as of the 9th hole, after the end of the 9th hole, Gannon was at 1 over. AB was at 1 under. So while Gannon floundered, AB did nothing to put him to secure it
down.
He could have been 4 or 5 down, and he just couldn't do it. They couldn't get it moving. You've got Kyle, who was 4 down after 9. You've got Isaac Robinson, who was 5 down after 9. These are gettable spots, and neither one of them felt like they really wanted it. Then you turn around, and the back 9, Gannon just decides to light it up. He gets the next 4, 10, 11, 12, 13. And AB gets 3 of those 4. So suddenly you've got a battle. Fast forward, going into hole 17. I know there was some on 17, AB missed. He basically 2-putted. The first one was from his knee where he blew past it. And that was a circle 2-putt, and then he missed the comeback, I believe, to take a 4. Yeah, it looks like because I think he went past it so far that he was in C2, came back, missed the C2 putt, missed the C1 putt. He took a 4, which was a par, when he had the chance to just, I don't want to say seal the deal, but it would have more or less locked it up. It would have put him up by 3 strokes going into the final hole, or 2 strokes going into the final hole. But instead, we get to hole 18. Gannon gets up. He's down by 1. I'm trying to recall now. So he won. Yeah, he won by 1.
Yeah, there's a two-stroke swing.
Yeah, two-stroke swing. Yeah, so he was down by 1, and AB just throws it straight. Doesn't put it in the spot where you need to put it. You need to hyzer that out. It's not a difficult shot unless you go way left where there is OB. AB just kind of went straight. All right, not the worst thing. He can still get the birdie. He just doesn't have an eagle look. The AB birdies this 9 out of 10 times. I almost guarantee it.
Yeah, I mean, I think he birdied it in round 3, and that's after going out of bounds.
Yeah.
So that says something.
It says Gannon throws it into the perfect spot. Kyle Klein throws it into the perfect spot. Now, Kyle is down by 2 to AB. Everyone's kind of writing him off because Kyle has to eagle.
Yeah.
And even if he eagles, that's assuming nobody else birdies. But then AB walks up to his line. He's got 3 trees in front of him. And I swear to God, he walked up to that, and I right away just said, go way around them. Go way around them. Don't try to punch the gap. You're taking too much into it. I wish I was on his bag like Austin Turner. I would have said something. And it's hard because even if it was me, it's hard to say, hey, AB, do this, you know? But I truly think I would have been like, dude, just take it safe. You have the thing. He tried to punch it up the gut, and he caught the tree. And right there, you're like, oh, geez, this is not looking good. But, oh, he can still par it. No big deal. He throws a mediocre approach, gets it up there for a 20-footer, 25 maybe.
Okay.
Gannon yanks it on his approach into the trees. I just kept thinking, like, nobody wants this. Nobody's stepping up to take this. Both these guys are crumbling under the pressure. They look at each other and go, I don't know. Like, if I was Gannon and I had Gannon skills, watching what AB did, I would be like, cool. All right, I can just throw a nice lazy Anheuser or try to, you know, it looked like he tried to power an Anheuser as opposed to flex one, like stand one up, hyzer to turn over, and he yanked it right into the trees. Again, not putting him out, that just takes him out of eagle contention.
Sure.
And at this point, everyone's thinking, all right, well, now we're going to have a battle, but AB's right up there. There's a great shot of looking back at the basket and seeing AB and Gannon in the same shot. Because Kyle is probably 60 out, misses his eagle putt. At this point, now he's done. He can only get a drop-in birdie. We all knew he was done. But then it comes up to AB. All he's got to do is put in this 20 or 25-footer. And as no surprise, earlier in the round, we'd seen the highlight. And it was fresh in my mind because there's a lot of things that are the Eagle McMahon miss. Where he missed, he fell down, rolled backwards. To me, it's kind of burned into my memory because I was behind the switching board, and I remember thinking how interesting that was at the time. AB throws up a bad putt from 20 to 25 feet, and it's wide right. Could it have stuck? Sure, could have, but it didn't. It was far enough right that it gave it the chance to come out, and that is the mistake right there. Like from that distance, you need to hit it dead. Yeah, you're dead center.
It's coming in very flat.
It's coming in very flat.
So there's a chance for it to teeter. Yep. There's no hyzer angle on it at all. He just putts very flat, which I love. But
so do I, and it's how I putt. And I remember complaining when I would hit right, a lot of mine would, as I called it, turtle out because they'd flip upside down and slide out. Yeah, because out of their back, when you hit something, because we're always thought, okay, just hit it just right of the pole. You don't want to hit the pole and come back, especially when you're used to putting on Mach 3s like we were. You don't want to give it that opportunity, so you always aim just a hair right of the pole. Well, as being an amateur as we were, I would hit it right, it would turtle out. Well, AB did kind of the same thing. Just hit it right, a little high. It had enough momentum to flip on its back and slide out. That drops probably 30% of the time in. And maybe even stays in 70% of the time and it drops out 30. But either way, 50-50, that was it. You could see AB and Gannon both at the exact same time put their hands on their heads and turn around. It was almost like we're living in a simulation where they both have the exact same reaction. Because now Gannon just has a drop-in birdie. Yeah. A drop-in birdie for the win. AB, I've read a lot of people talking about how AB choked. I don't think he did. I don't think this is a choke job, honestly. He didn't do anything that to me was like a no doubt you got to get this screw up. To me, that's what a choke is. And AB didn't. He threw a mediocre drive, threw kind of a poor approach where he caught the tree, a mediocre approach, and then a mediocre putt that didn't stick. Gannon, to me, almost choked more when he had a wide open shot and yanked it right. Just fortunate enough where he had some strokes. And all respect to Gannon, that dude fought back. He dominated the back nine.
Yeah, you have to be, we say it all the time, and this can get said of sometimes Kristen and some of the comebacks that she's had when you think she's down and out. We've seen that from a number of other players, especially even in the FPO division, where it's a matter of hanging around, and maybe you're lighting it up, maybe you're not, but you're still there. So if somebody does trip up, if somebody does make the mistake, whether it's considered a choke or it's just a miscue, you still have to be in position. I think back to one of the most famous scenarios of all time, and she'd probably say the same words. That's exactly what Valerie Jenkins did in winning her 4th world title. Mm-hmm. She was hanging around. She was not dominating. She was not in the lead for most of the worlds there in Emporia. And she watched both Paige and Kat struggle with a few holes left to play. And she was right there just to stay steady and consistent in that case. And she ultimately would walk away with the world championship in that case. So I don't know. Choke does feel like such a rough and strong word to use. But
I mean, you lose it on 18, no matter what's going to happen. People are going to call it a choke job. That's just how it is.
Yeah. Well, you're up by 1. A par gets you par in this case gets you a playoff. Mm-hmm. You're not guaranteed the eagle or birdie, clearly, but a par gets you a playoff. Yeah, I don't know. As Ed said on the board, and you kind of danced around, you called them mediocre, Ed called them bad. You had all those chances to throw all those shots, and none of them were good.
Yeah,
none of them were good. You can't even.
You're right.
Said
none
mediocre.
of them were good.
Ed calls them bad.
Yeah, I not one of those.
I
throws
couldn't
were
argue
good.
against someone saying that he choked it away, and it's a hard word to accuse of someone, especially someone so good. Because the last thing I need is the internet saying, "Yeah, fat ass Terry Miller called it a choke job. He can't even get off his chair and play." Like it has nothing to do with my skill set. But when you're looking at it at just what it is, I think even AB would. He classify it that way.
He might. I look at a choke job in general as a routine shot that you're screwing up. Are you in 90?
He put himself out of position with a poor tee shot through a difficult but still didn't execute the second shot, through a poor third shot, and then a putt that he should have made.
I don't think it was poor. I think it was mediocre. And the putt, as we said, that's a 50-50 putt. Now, from that distance, again, you hit that exact same spot from 50 feet. I have less of an issue with it. You're like, oh, it's 50 feet. But from
he was considerably closer.
He was considerably closer.
Expected to make those putts.
You're expected to hit it more center than that. I don't know. So, to me, choke just it doesn't. And again, if someone else wants to call it that, that's fine. I'm not calling it because I want to be on AB's good side. I don't really care either way. I just think that he had a lot of mediocre shots, and Gannon had, I would say, 3 good shots, really good shots. Like that's just. I mean, you didn't even need a putt, I guess.
I don't know. I'll be the first to admit,
really good shots.
I did not watch this in real time. I actually played a little bit of golf and did a whole bunch of other things on Sunday afternoon. All I know is when I did flip, and I genuinely did not know the results, but I'm flipping through the Facebooks at one point, and all I'm reading, this is simply what's in my feed, which your feeds may vary by person to person. Mileage may vary. In my feed was a barrage of people screaming about baskets.
Not a basket
catching.
Problem. Not a basket problem.
I'm not saying that it was. I'm saying that's what I have in my feed. My feed, like I said, may differ from others, but that's what was in my feed. And I was like, I wonder, oh man, it sounds unfortunate. If there was like a legitimate spit or just a really bad break, like that sucks. You never want that to happen, I think, to literally any competitor in any situation. And it wasn't until Monday morning I see the first and only angle I see of the putt. I don't even know if I've seen it from behind him yet. The only angle I see is the putt coming at you as a spectator.
Yeah.
And it hitting the side of the chains and then flopping out. And at no point did I think, oh, well, that was a good putt.
Well, Terry, here, if you'd like, we can show it to everybody.
All right. I have not. This is news to me.
Yeah,
I have not seen this.
This is live from the Jomez. This is what the angle that everybody saw in the live.
Well, post from the Jomez. But
yeah. Well, it's the live camera.
No, I know.
Yeah. So he just hit it too far right. And that's the reaction everybody had.
Go back and let's look at it a little slower.
All right.
Just use your arrow key and then.
Should I slow it down?
Yeah. Put it in 0.25 or 0.5.
All right, we'll put it in 0.5. Here you go, Terry.
To be fair, we don't often
reference
footage.
No,
ever.
we don't. I just happened to have it open because I was watching earlier a little bit. And you want to
step or two outside of bullseye.
I'm sorry, but that disc is right. That hits.
Oh yeah, I'm not disagreeing.
And I know, but for everyone out there watching, that disc is.
Could it stay in?
Of
Absolutely.
50-50.
Could.
I 100. In fact, it's not even as high as I even remember. I thought it was a little bit higher, but ultimately it just. It hits it and almost straightens it out a little bit. It turns up
and very easily could have fallen in.
Yep. And then it gets on
it doesn't.
It gets on its back, and then at that point it just tips out.
And he putts with some authority, which again you can love and appreciate.
Yeah.
And understandably.
Yeah. And it was that pausing it right there, that is the reaction that I think the world had.
Yeah, look at all the hands on just in there, almost everyone's face you can see, their hands are touching their head or face there. Yeah. 4 out of the 5, at least in that shot.
And it was brutal. AB took...
Of course. This is more so the angle that I saw.
Yeah. I mean, it was happily in, but it also was a little bit right, enough where it could have kicked... My favorite is right here.
Yeah.
Gannon and
look
AB,
at all the faces behind
both of them doing
well.
the exact same thing.
And Doc, you're 100% right. This is... as a guy who does not typically roll 3 or 4 deep in cameras for coverage, this is where reaction cams are worth their weight in gold.
100%.
Totally agree with that.
So and AB took it tough to the
understandably.
Well, I mean, some people are like, well, do these guys even care if they win or not?
A win, yes. If that's for 3rd versus 4th,
oh no,
but who cares? But no, this is an Elite Series plus win. Yeah, they do take it tough, and I don't care how much money either of these guys make
on the tour.
Yeah, they especially though. You're thinking ahead because you know what's going to get asked for the next 2 years by media idiots like me. Well, remember that was what was that like? Because Worlds is going to be here, so this is going to get referenced. Fair or not, this is going to get referenced no matter what happens at the event next year.
Yep,
we could have just as much or more drama. But then 2027. The last couple of years, we can look at the drama here. You can look at Adam Hammes and the playoff that he had a couple of years ago. You can look at what's been done here.
Ian has said that as well. He's like, this place always tends to deliver. It comes down to 18 so often on this course. And you're right. We saw We saw Adam Hammes just drop in a 50-plus footer to win.
Yeah,
or to get to a playoff.
Yeah, the playoff a couple years ago, and then he wins it on the first hole of the playoff.
We saw Double G shank one in the rain off to the left, throwing a forehand, which everyone was like, "Why is Double G throwing a forehand?" Yeah. And he explained it. He came on and said it was because of the grip. Mm-hmm. He didn't think he had a great backhand. We saw Eagle from years ago on a different course hit the chains, fall out on the opposite side, fall down as we referenced. This place does deliver regardless of how it looks and how it feels. And I just, again, going back earlier, bet your long arms. I'm just saying.
Yeah, that maybe still is the ultimate theme.
When it comes down to it, bet the long arms, folks.
Just to read, because I thought it was appropriate, knowing what I then learned and the classiness that went along with it. Yesterday, Anthony Barella posted, overcommitted on my putt to push the playoff and missed right side. Felt very in control of my game down the stretch. Just got out of position on 18. Confidence is still at an all-time high. You win some, you lose some.
I think he should be. Like, this should not shake his confidence at all.
No.
Now, what he says publicly and what he feels privately could be two different things. We've seen that enough in the past. But ultimately, if AB's listening, yeah, it should not shake your confidence. He literally screwed up on 1.5 holes. Like, hole 17, he gave away probably a putt that he normally would hit, or he has been hitting lately. And as he said, 18, he got out of position, threw a mediocre drive, and that cascaded, which is really cool because a lot of times on these golf course holes, you throw a mediocre drive, and it puts you in a place where you can just make it up for in distance.
Not punishing, yeah.
This one is a placement. You have to get to the left if you want the eagle. He still should have got the birdie, but I mean, anything can happen on these courses. So ultimately, Gannon Buhr wins by a stroke when everybody was thinking playoff. Some people were thinking 3-way playoff at one point. If Kyle could have just, that dude could have just manned up and hit a 60-footer.
Yeah, where is he? Yeah, and also I will share, I have it up in front of me as well. Gannon made his post yesterday saying Northwest champion. I'm going to paraphrase a little bit of it, but said, I don't even know where to start. I played solid every day to give myself a chance to win at the end. At the end of 4 rounds, a good battle with Anthony and Klein, I was able to come out on top. I look forward to many battles in the future and know how it feels to be on the other end. I want to thank my competitors who push me every week to perform at a high level. This will be a great momentum boost going into a long stretch, and I feel comfortable. So, yeah, congratulations to Gannon. Yeah, you've got to. Sure, he says momentum for now and for this year. I get that, but thinking about successes here and an additional boost of confidence. Eagle McMahon has, for instance, talked about loving playing in the Northwest, and you see him show up and play relatively well. Those things, right, wrong, fair or not, or something that makes sense to you or not, it doesn't matter. It's what they feel. And if Gannon Buhr now has back-to-back successes here at this particular event, obviously that's going to only continue to boost confidence when you think ahead a couple of years from now.
It's very early. He has to be the favorite for Worlds. Just him and AB.
Yeah,
ultimately, probably him, as we saw.
Unless you get your arms figured out.
I mean, if I could start,
you've got that height with them.
If I could start throwing 500 feet and hitting, 40-foot and in putts, I'd have a chance. But
do you think you'd need a forehand? If you were throwing 500 backhand,
no, and
you're hitting let's give you 98% C1. Let's call it C40 putting. I don't know. We'll make that up. 40 feet in. We're giving you shallow circle 2. We're giving you shallow circle 2, which is probably doesn't feel much different to many of them anyway. So you're 98% from 40 and in. 500-foot backhands. I mean, you're barely a notch above Isaac at that point in those two categories. What are your chances, given the skill set? Can you still beat either of them?
I'm sure I could. It would be difficult without a forehand. It's going to be difficult for anybody out there without a forehand. I would like to think that that's about an Isaac Robinson. Could Isaac showed he can win. I mean, we saw Nate Sexton, who throws a lot of forehands. He's a Masters player. Dude broke the top 10. And it's his home area, the Northwest. Sure. But I mean, it goes to show you that you can perform. I would need to play well clearly at Milo. You need to get to 16 down on those 2 rounds to give yourself that opportunity.
Yeah.
And then hopefully you shoot, maybe like a 9, 10, and 11. And I think that could win it for you. And I don't think you need a forehand. You just need to optimize your backhand to the way it works. So yeah, and if that were me, sure. That's not happening, as we know. I'm never going to throw 500
A boy
feet.
Can dream. Because I would be there to caddy for you if you started throwing 500 feet.
Okay.
And you made 80% from C1X. And you had those skill sets. I would go be the one man caddy media team for you at that Worlds?
There's honestly no reason.
At first, you'd have to get it in somehow.
Correct, yeah. There's honestly no reason I couldn't do either of those things. I've got the build to throw.
Yeah, you do.
I've got the build to throw 500. I can't.
No.
I'm kind of old now and a little brittle, a little tight in a lot of places. I'm already a pretty decent C1X putter. I would say I'm probably 70, at least 70%. So I could practice and get to 80 to 85% if I really put the effort.
It's all we got to manifest this somewhere.
I don't think I'm doing it, Terry. You know why? I don't care enough.
That's no fun.
I know. That's what it comes down to. I don't care about the disc golf enough. I love the sport. I love to play.
Yeah, but you got like a regular paycheck coming in, so you don't even need the money. That's the best part.
Know.
You can play
but that
freely.
means I also have to find time to practice these things.
Oh,
I'm sure I could find one of those online academies that can teach me how to throw 500
That's true.
feet.
Pulse A, I can get you a discount code for those guys.
Oh, nice.
They support my videos, so I know we can get you a discount code. Well, all right. Well, I'll keep holding my breath.
Yes, you should definitely.
Meanwhile, Doc Zen says he would be first in line to caddy for you. So
well,
all right. Well,
Doc.
I could be the backup caddy.
That's right.
/ support system. All right. Well, we read off the top 10. We can talk more about a World's preview and or changes. I'll be interested to see if the players have direct feedback that won't get to you and I per se, but if they have direct feedback as to what the course may or may not look like. It's 11,000 and change. Glendoveer is not the longest course on the tour, I don't think, is it?
It's not the longest, but it's long.
It's obviously not short. I'm not kidding anyone. I'm just saying it is.
There are some really awesome shots at Glendoveer, too.
Yeah.
Like, there's a couple, like, right up the gut, 380-foot shots, 410-foot shots that are beautiful. And those are the ones I love.
Okay.
And there's a few big monster flexes. Like, hole 1 is great. Hole 17 is great. Hole 18 is good. Just overall, there are some really nice holes out there, but there's a few of them that it's just like, all right, throw far. If you throw far, you get X amount more advantage. And that course, again, as it shows. Speaking of throwing far, let's talk about FPO. Holland Hanley wins this by 7 strokes. Holland was doing well the entire weekend. After the first round, she was tied for first. After the second round, she was 1 down to Missy. So then they left Milo. After the third round, she had a 4-stroke lead. And it just goes to show the advantage that the distance has, even on the FPO side. And then the finals, Holland just kind of keeps up the pace. Good.
No shortage of birdies for her.
No.
Which is
both players, I believe, ended at 33 for MPO and FPO. This, but both of them ended at 33 under. So that was
a 2,000-foot difference overall. I just happened to be looking at the total distance. It was 11,000 and change and 91.90 in terms of the Glendoveer layout. That is for both of them. Okay.
Yeah. So Holland wins this by 7 strokes over Missy Gannon. Missy, as continued to play very, very well over on the West Coast. Third place, Paige Pierce, who, as we know, really enjoys the West Coast and plays usually pretty well here. Paige just kind of got off to the wrong start that final round. There was maybe kind of a chance that if she played lights out, she could win. You give her 5 more strokes, that puts her at 29.
Yeah, but she needed help. She needed Hanley to falter,
of course.
She needed to play well.
I mean, no offense to Holland, we've seen it. Holland has faltered on that final round. Now, I'm glad she didn't, because I think that helps put to bed some of the stigma maybe that she has for her final rounds. She was able to kind of really put her foot down and close it out. Fourth place, Jen Allen. Jen Allen shot a 981 final rated round, one of the, if not the furthest thrower in the world, current world record holder. Fifth place.
Who's been playing some pretty good golf overall.
She
Obviously,
has.
you go to a place like this, but not only, winning the Masters, the U.S. Masters a few weeks ago, then playing in the Open Division in Las Vegas, taking that down in Vegas, and then now having this as well. So she's playing some pretty good golf right now. Her travel home was way more difficult than her golf lately. I saw a less than pleasant post from her. She was struggling to try and get home, and that's all part of the air travel.
Fifth place, Katrina Allen. So an interesting, I thought I saw someone say it's been 3 years since Paige and Kat have been in the top 5 together. Or was it 2.5? Something like that.
Yeah, I suppose you're talking injury. You're talking both have had struggles. You're talking one's had a baby. I mean, like, yeah, there's a lot of moving parts there. But for two of our titans of the game, it is a little bit of a mind-blowing stat to think that it's been that long. But also, the competition continues to rise, and they've both had their struggles throughout. Real quick, I will get a shout-out in. Over the weekend, Paige also celebrated a birthday, so happy birthday to Paige.
Yeah, happy birthday, Paige. Yeah, they were talking about it. I believe it was on Friday.
Oh.
I think it was Friday. 5th place, Valerie Mondahano, who has had some good luck. She's played well on the West Coast, as we know a couple of years ago, so it's nice to see her kind of step up. A course that's set up for Taylor Chosick. Much like Anthony Barella, she has such a big advantage here compared to like someone like an Owen Scoggins, who is right after her. Even though, guess what? Owen shot better than her that final round. Taylor had some bogey issues early in the round. 8th place, Owen Scoggins. 9th place, Ella Hansen. And a tie for 10th between Sophia Danecki. Sophia. And 10th place, Kat Murch. So you had, again, Kat started out very, very tough and ended very, very poorly. So unfortunately, Kat really fell. I think she fell 6 or 7 or 8 spots down to 10th place by shooting a 7 over par. That was the worst score in like the top 20 or something along those lines. Maybe, from everybody. From anybody that played that final day after the cut.
Yeah. So
Kat just unfortunately not able to get it done.
She made a funny post about shooting something to the effect of, I can shoot 7 over but still finish in the top 10, which is like a subtle flex, but yet a little self-degradate. What's the word I'm looking for?
Deprecation.
Deprecation. Just a little bit. But taking it all in stride, I think, is the takeaway there.
You're going to have bad days.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen Kat shoot some really good rounds, and some days you just don't have it. We've all been there.
Also of note, as we're looking at this, at these performances and some names, like you said, that have jumped up. Also looking at that finish by Taylor, who has really come onto the scene, has been making a big charge and has improved very quickly to get to where she is. That's got to be her highest finish at this level of an event.
I think it's her first top 10 ever at an Elite Series event.
That sounds about right. I think I saw.
Yeah, her first round she was only at 1 under, which not shocking with Milo and her. Like, just it doesn't. This has got to feel homish to her as well.
Yeah, in the Northwest,
growing up in the Northwest, going to college here. But the second round, I believe she had she shot a 4 down. So I mean, nothing phenomenal, but overall, what was it? A 4 down was a 970 rated, and then no surprise, the 3rd and 4th round really she stepped it up. She shoots a 6 down, which is a 993, and then she shot a 4 down, which is a 973.
Well, scroll down a little. Did I see an ace jump off the page? Somewhere on there. I could have swore I saw.
Speaking of aces,
round 3 maybe.
Yeah, you know who it was?
No, that's why I was just asking.
Here, I'll give you a clue. Don't look at the board.
Okay.
It's her first ever tournament.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Katrina Allen. That's not what I just saw there, though.
Oh, no.
I think I thought I saw one in round 3. Katrina Allen, I did see the highlight post, and maybe I'm just making that. Maybe it was maybe it was round
It must
2
round 2
that jumped off the page. Yeah, I know it was Katrina Allen on hole 15. Yeah. Okay. That is what was popping out at me then. Yeah. I still don't believe that.
And then
I'm not calling her a liar, but
no, not at all. It's not her first ever ace, to
Correct.
be clear. It's her first ever tournament ace. No, and it is. You're right.
What?
It's shocking with as much and as good as she's
good
been.
as she is. Like
as everybody says, aces are mistakes.
I
right?
said it too this weekend. Yeah, as I laid up for a birdie somewhere.
Aces are mistakes. So.
But still,
I know that you don't
when you're that good,
I know
you accidentally throw one in somewhere. I mean, she is
some big hyzer, some
She's a 2-time world champ that can throw forehand, that can throw backhand. Was one of our bigger throwers for a number of years within the division. Has never been a slouch on power. Golfs her way around a course as well as anyone ever has in the modern era. Has all of these superlatives, these things you could say about her. And to hear that that's her first ever tournament ace, and she plays a lot and has played a lot. It's not like Taylor, for instance, who's only got a couple years under her belt. Maybe can throw far, but only has a couple years under her belt.
And we've heard this before. We have heard in previous years her talking about never having a tournament ace. So when it's funny, I was sitting on the couch. When she hit that, I immediately said out loud, is that her first one? Because I remember, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, her saying, I think she rattled chains on something, and she was just like, oh, so close, I still don't have my first one. And I couldn't think. I was like, well, she hasn't played much in the last 2 years because of the baby and whatnot. So I'm like, I think that might be her first one.
Still. Crazy.
It is absolutely crazy. And it was such, honestly, did you see the highlight? It was such a touching moment.
I agree.
Like, a little emotional.
I agree, and I think that's great. It is funny to see some differences between the FPO and the MPO division because you would see a bunch of the guys presumably hugging one another during it. And,
no, it would be more high fives with the dudes,
but it almost feels a little. It's a little disappointing only in the fact that she didn't see it. She didn't know. Like, there's so much excitement about watching an ace go in, but because of the nature of the hole, the blind shot that it was, she didn't see it or even know.
No, but I think that kind of added to this, to the element of surprise because she threw it.
It was like,
and then she like kind of like, okay, that's a decent shot, and then starts to turn around, and then she hears it. It's like, ching! And then everyone cheers, and you could see she just, something in her was like, oh, like she was on the verge of crying.
Yeah.
It was just, someone asked her, like, you want to run up and get that? And she's like, no, I don't. Like, I can't. I need a moment.
Yeah.
That kind of pressure at some point that no one else is putting on her because no one else practically remembers or knows, but that she has to be thinking of herself like, hey, I'm getting up there in age. I know it's no offense, but she's not Taylor Chosick.
You think she's thinking about it though? Like,
yes.
Ever?
Yes.
Really?
I think every time she gets close, I think every time she throws a shot and it's going to be like, and she's like, when it's within ace distance, that has to be in her head a little bit. Like
I've never gotten a tournament ace.
I've never gotten a tournament ace.
This weekend might be the weekend.
Yes. I think she probably thinks about it more frequently than she would even like to admit to herself.
Okay.
Now,
I wouldn't think so with her accolades, with her resume.
It doesn't matter. That, I know it doesn't matter in the grand scheme. If she went through her entire career and never had an Elite Series ace, no one is going to ding her from the Hall of Fame.
Wait.
Sorry, Hall of Fame. No, thank you. But I guarantee you, every 280-foot hole she gets up and plays, she's probably thinking like, this could be the one. And now she doesn't have to think that. That's a little bit of weight off her shoulders.
I guess.
And it's minor. I don't think it affects her play at all, but you just don't have to worry. You don't have to think about it anymore. You have one. It's
all right.
I know it's not really the same, but think about Kelvin and Majors. Like the dude's been there. The dude's been there so
stratospheres of importance and significance.
I agree.
Like
100% agree. But you don't think that every major he walks up to, he thinks this could be the one.
Of course, and he should be because that's part of that's so like part of a legacy, and that's part of a it's a career defining moment. An ace at an Elite Series is not career defining unless it's the walk off ace on the 18th hole to win the tournament. An ace is not career defining at all. Well, I guess unless you're Philo, so I should retract that.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean? Like. I don't even put those in the same stratosphere.
I don't think they're the same.
Of course, Kelvin thinks about that.
I don't think they're the same stratosphere, but I still think you're thinking about it, just like she is. She probably thinks about it every time every time she went up to an aceable hole.
I'm going to text her. I want to text her right now and be like, were you having nightmares? Can you finally sleep now?
I don't think that's going to make her or her child sleep any better, but I bet you it's just a little bit of weight off her shoulder. That's all it takes. It's just, you have it. You can kind of just exhale. You don't have to think about that on every possible ace shot that you throw. I mean, we have a friend who played for decades, never got an ace. And you don't think that he thought of that like so many times.
Yeah, but again,
and he was a decent player, and he's not playing at these high
still,
levels.
Kat's accomplished.
It doesn't matter.
She's
That's
been one of the greatest women to ever play the game.
She didn't have it, and now she does. She didn't have it, and now she does. So
yeah.
Now
she also didn't have a child, and now she does.
I know, and now I'll let her into the Hall of Fame if she.
There you go. That's just obviously up to you, as it should be.
That was the one. That's the key.
Yes,
that's the key. Now you unlocked it.
Yes, good call. No, I don't. Asked on the board. Any chance she meant televised? I don't believe so.
No, it's her first tournament ace. Now, I don't know if it's her first Elite Series or better. I don't know if she. I don't think she has an ace on any tournament. Is what I believe she said.
Yeah, that would be my guess.
But like not a B tier, not a C tier.
God, I'm never picking her for a partner at an ace race then either.
No, not at all.
Jeez, can't even.
Ed says Kat was verklempt. Yeah, she was. She was very verklempt. She had to take a moment, catch her breath, and then, it's good. I'm glad.
I'll follow it up. There's a question that Doc also asks and says, honest question, should there be a protected division for women who have given birth? And absolutely not.
No.
In my opinion, I'll say it about any LGBTQ plus, any trans scenario. In my non-doctor, non-professional athletic sports background, non-doctor background, all of those things that do not qualify me, I would still give my opinion in that case would be no. There is to be
no, and as we know, I mean, women can give birth anywhere from, we'll just say 16, probably a lot younger,
to 40 something.
To in theory, almost 50. Yeah. Like there's a wide variety there. And so if you happen to be let's just say a 20-year-old that gives birth, I mean, no, it's a funny thought experiment, but I would say no.
Not even really, and I don't want to get all morbid, but what you have a stillbirth? Like, are you eligible for this?
Oh, geez.
Like, right? Like, there's a lot of ways. That's why, in no way would I validate.
Wow.
This. I know. You took it real dark.
You took that dark. You took this whole podcast down that path.
I know. I'm just saying. Yes. There is no realm where. What if you gave your kid up for adoption? Does that still count? Like, I was adopted, so I can say this. Yeah. Right? Like, does that still count? Like, you had childbirth, but for whatever reason. Yeah. Anyway, no. Yeah. I'll end it with that before I say something really stupid.
Says, okay, question retracted, Terry. Yeah, see what happens. And she did have an ace at the Funky Farms.
That is true.
That's not a sanctioned event.
That's definitely not. And it was filmed.
Yep, it was filmed.
Yes. And it's funny because I think back to, again, thinking about Kat and Paige and rivalry and two of the titans of our game. I have 2 or 3 Paige Pierce aces, and that's just on my channel.
Yeah.
I know I have 2. She aced at the Rocky Mountain Women's, one of the first years I was there. A little forehand on like a 250-foot shot. And she aced during the 2016 World Doubles
with Germ,
with Big Germ, and that's still one of the just like most gorgeous aces.
Slightly downhill under the tree, kind of.
Yeah. The hole before Billy aced the previous hole or the following hole coming back is that we got on film, the first ever SmashBoxx ace. Yeah, so which was the second ever ace on.
Not the first ever.
Not the first. You're right.
The first one we got on TV.
The first one we got on TV. It was the second ever ace on ESPN, only to Doss's being the first, and then we got Billy's on.
Vividly remember all of that. It's so cool.
So anyway, it was the hole before that Paige, and I remember. My fellow cameraman that was working with me that year was like, "Oh, it's kind of raining out, and I really don't want to go out in the rain." And I'm like, and we were sitting at the Dynamic Disc Pro Shop. 912 Commercial Street. We were sitting in there. It was kind of raining during the doubles. We weren't really obligated to film it. I wasn't contracted by anybody to film it. And he didn't want to go out. And I'm like, I'm going to go out there. And then I caught up with that group and filmed. And it was Nate and Val, and then Paige and Germ were all on the card together. And then I filmed it and then got her throwing it in. And we got it on SportsCenter that night. So those are two that I know of off the top of my head without going out to my channel. Those are at least two of them that I know I have of Paige's. So anyway. That place looked comfy, and I don't blame the camera guy at all. Yes, it was raining out. It was hot and disgusting and raining, and it was just the start of Worlds Week, and they had a nice leather couch over there at Dynamic Disc, so I can understand why people, did love that couch. Elaine King with the best FPO ace of all time.
No, the downhill.
Yeah, but that
wasn't an ace.
Yeah, that hit the basket.
Hit basket, right?
That hit the basket at 2003.
Unless there's a different one that I don't know of, which could be. Elaine King has thrown a lot of discs.
Yeah, you're probably thinking about the 2003 Pro Worlds ace in Arizona.
Not ace.
Near ace.
Near ace.
At the Snowball is what you're thinking of, which would have been the greatest and longest ace ever. Yeah, just an 850-foot drive that hit the cage. Exactly. So, all right. Well, that's what we saw for the Northwest Disc Golf Challenge, which feels like a mouthful. Does that name, and I know the history clearly, does that name, how to say this? It doesn't get me pumped.
No.
It feels, although it clearly designates where it's taking place, it just feels a tad generic. And for that reason, I don't love it. I don't feel like the name does the courses justice. We've had the Beaver State Fling, arguably one of the more clever, great names that we've had, that has been a national tour and has carried so much weight in the Northwest, literally for decades. And then we had the Portland Open, which came onto the tour so that there would be a stop out there that didn't necessarily involve Milo or play there. And so it was the Portland Open. I'd call it the City of Roses Championship or something before just Northwest Disc Golf Challenge. And I get it because you're at Milo, which is out technically in like Estacada, I think is maybe where it's because it's about 35, 40 minutes outside of Portland. So maybe it's not really the City of Roses, or I don't know. Somebody way more creative and clever than me, which is a really low bar. Somebody should come up with a different name. Northwest Disc Golf Championship. I'm not confused about where it's at, but
I do like that they kept the Beaver logo in it. I'm looking at it right now.
Pull it up on the.
It's so small though.
Well, I just meant put it on the screen, but
yeah,
there's still the ode, and if somebody doesn't know this, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Just throwing it out there. That beaver is in the shape of Oregon,
which to me, unfortunately, is kind of ruined with the Northwest. You can't tell. Like when it's just by itself, you can really tell with the big buck teeth, and you've got the shape of the head. I just feel like it.
And they got the roses in there. I get it.
Yep.
So I see how they've mirrored the two. I think that's maybe even technically like the Stumptown logo, which is one of the predominant clubs out there with that basket that's there. So I get it all. I think the logo looks great. I'm not complaining about it. Just Northwest Disc Golf Championship. I don't know. By the way, this was a hill to die on that I just started climbing like 2 minutes ago. So I didn't put a lot of thought into this, but
it's fine to have preferences, Terry. You can not like something, but to not like the name. You're right. There's just nothing. You're missing something. There's nothing unique about it. You're missing something.
So, Ronald says it doesn't scream Elite Series. Okay. Maybe not. I don't.
And every event.
Do we have any other? Do we scroll down to our schedule on this page, if you would?
This
is the overall schedule.
This
of the
is
year.
The past schedule. So.
Do we have any other ones that aren't, that are quote unquote generic? Like, in terms of our tour names.
Wow.
I mean, obviously we have where they take place, like the Ale Open taking place there, but then like Preserve.
You've got Preserve. The Discmania Challenge is kind of lame, so to speak. It's because
it's no longer the Des Moines Challenge.
It's still the DC, obviously.
Yeah.
PCS Open. Location.
It's named after a company.
Yeah.
Krokel, named after a place. European Cool Bet presents European Disc Golf Festival, which
Worlds, Turku, a generic Discraft Ledgestone. Ledgestone's at least named after a company.
LWS is a company at Idlewild, which is a unique name.
The
Great Lakes Open, named after. I mean,
Green Mountain.
That maybe gets a little more of a pass. Great Lakes Open. That carries the significance of the last 30 years of it existing. Great Lakes could be considered a little bit generic. Maybe. I mean, you and I are used to it because it literally has been around since like 2000 or prior to that. So, anyway, take it for what you will. I don't know.
All right. We will take it that way, Terry.
All right. Any other events taking place that are of note or news and announcements? Obviously, there's a lot of misrepresentation and misunderstanding of the 2 or 3 or 5 podcasts that talked about the rules changes. You still saw a lot of people misconstruing what was or wasn't said. Was it all crystal clear in every case? I'm not saying that it was, but there was also a lot of misunderstanding that has ensued. I'll let everyone figure that out on their own. I can't hold everyone's hand all the time.
A couple A tiers we can talk about real quick. Chuck Conley was the tournament director for the Tennessee State Disc Golf Championships. I'll give you one guess who won this, Terry.
The C. Dick Slayer.
Yeah, if that's what you want to call him. Chris Dickerson wins that one.
Not by much, though.
No.
It almost didn't.
Almost
if you look at that final round.
Yeah, he shot a 59, while Anthony shot a 55. Oops, that's a zoom out. Harper Thompson tied for second as well with Anthony down over on FPO. You've got, that was a lot of MPO there, 90 full. Macy Veladiaz wins this one over Cadence Burge.
And Macy, I believe, posting that it's her first win since becoming a mom.
Oh, congratulations. And third place, Paige Shue.
Another mom out there. So there might be a few others in that list. I'm not sure. Cadence... Paige and Macy are young enough that Cadence isn't quite young enough to
be their kid.
Yes,
correct.
But,
I thought about it.
A lot of young talent.
I didn't say it. So
there you go.
The Baltic Disc Golf Championship 13 in
Alta Guse
Open 2025, presented by Innova Champion Discs. Mari Vielman wins this. He shoots 19 under, besting Matthias Velota by 7 strokes. Congratulations, Mari Vielman. And in FPO, Anneli Tugas-Maniste.
Anneli Tugas-Maniste. Out of Estonia. And then a couple other Estonians there in Iritate and Kari Taku.
Yeah, I don't know what Anneli's. I can never get that one.
Anneli Tugas.
Anneli, I get that.
Anneli Tugas-Maniste.
Tugas-Maniste.
I think.
I have to nail that one down. All right. The 6th annual Magnolia Open. First, when I read this, when it was small, I thought it said Mongolia Open, and I was like, "Wow, cool! Like they've got an event over in Mongolia." Like
I wouldn't be surprised. Paul Macbeth Foundation's doing good stuff.
That's
sure
kind of what I thought, but no, it's the Magnolia Open, sponsored by Discover Durant, powered by MVP Axiom. Emerson Keith takes this one down. It is in Oklahoma, besting Mason Marshbanks and Greg Barsby over on FPO. Madeline Payton wins this event. What else we got here? I think there were quite a few of them here. We're going to look at the pro. There was a Q Series, the Eastern Meadows Open, presented by RocketDiscs.com. Clay Edwards wins this in MPO. Over on FPO, you've got Julia Forrest. So again, this is a Q Series. These are people who, in theory, will be able to kind of challenge for that tour card next year. Going over to the Prodigy Disc. I'm going to skip that one, actually. Looks like we had 2 Q Series this weekend. Lincoln, Nebraska had one. Where'd my mouse go? There it is.
Q-Bert? Q-Squared?
Q-Bert? No. Logan Harpool Shoots 25 under, besting Evan Walker on MPO, and in FPO, Emma Arp wins over Samantha Bonacci. And was there one more? There was the Titan Open 2025 presented by Discraft over in Cedar Rapids. Dawson Snelling wins this by a single stroke over Gillis McDougall. Kale LaVisca in third place. So that goes to show you how well some of these guys shot. Let's look at the round ratings. 1039, 1014,
yeah, I was going to say the one
1027.
post I saw was, in fact, from Kale saying he just felt like he missed a few too many putts. Obviously coming up 2 strokes short of snagging that win from Dawson. And Sam Dobert, who's a Wisconsin local, continues to make a little name for himself. I met him when he was literally just a couple feet tall. Him and his dad play.
They all look like
they're
that
out
to
of
me.
the area. Yeah, exactly. So very cool. See him work himself up into a 994 rating.
Solid.
And some good play there.
FPO, Shelby Dutton wins this over Lexi Marks.
Sweet.
There you have them. That's kind of your A tiers for the weekend. Oh, wait, there's more down there? Holy crap. Those are the 3-day A tiers. There's 2-day A tiers as well. Holy moly, I don't want to leave anybody out. The 2025 Mind Kill Disc Golf Championship, Lucas Hess in MPO. And come on, computer.
See, mine does that too.
That's when you hit the button. Like you accidentally click and you try to scroll. It'll stop there and it'll turn the cursor into like an arrow. FPO, Eden Fornoff. Then you have, those are AM ones. Sorry, AMs, we don't mention you. You don't exist.
You're mentioned in my thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm going to continue to watch our AM fields. Speaking of AMs, real quick, talk about our pro, semi-pro / amateurs. This weekend, the major that's going to be taking place, as it always does during the first week or so of the season, of June, I should say. Also, right when I feel like some of these kids are barely just getting out of school, like, do you have to skip the final day or two of school? But I'm talking about the 2025 United States Amateur Disc Golf Championship. Takes place over at the famed Toboggan Course, as it has for more than 20 years.
You going to be over there?
I am not. I was there for that famous playoff with Ilken Groh and Paul Kranz.
Yeah.
7 holes. 1, 2, 18 or 1, 8. Yeah, 1, 17, 18 on repeat. F that. Zach Peters. We'll see if we mention or have to have him in a week from now. Zach Peters just narrowly edges out James Collier as your highest rated player. Zach comes into the event at 1,000. James at 999. Broden Barlow. That's a unique name. Broden Barlow at 997. And John Ryan III at 995. Those are your top 4 rated players. I'm going to go out on a limb.
Say it's going to be one of them?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's someone 990 or above.
Oh, that's not a limb.
Oh, yeah, it's really not. That also then includes Landon Sides and Jace Moore are all 990 and above. So we'll see how that goes down this upcoming weekend. So best of luck to you players taking on the toboggan. It's definitely a career opportunity is when you see players do well there and show your skills off at that quote-unquote big boy course and opportunity. So I'm surprised, honestly, that there's no one over 1,000, and our highest rated is exactly 1,000 on the dot coming out of Johnson City, Tennessee. So good luck to all the players. I'm sure it'll be a good time. That event has always been known to provide a lot of fun outside of the very difficult golf that's been offered. So good luck.
And this weekend coming up, other than that, you've still got the LA Open. That is June 6th through 8th. Ricky is making the trip over.
Yeah, he's already arrived. And I think you have a chance to go out and maybe it's just watch. I think you just get to watch him practice. But it was either watch and or maybe even play alongside him. I saw him make a post saying just that. Kind of interesting to see a number of our players bouncing back and forth. And Ezra, I know, has talked about Ezra doing the same. I think Yuli's planning on doing the same.
Eric Oakley, I believe, as well.
Okay, yeah. Matt Bell's on the list.
Well,
Aderhold.
I could see some of these guys going over for the LA and then staying there.
Sure.
But Ricky, I'm curious. I think Ezra went over there last weekend and then came back.
Yeah.
And then he's coming back for the preserve.
Yeah.
He's going to do the Creators Challenge, and then the True Bank, and then he's going to go fly back. Like, that dude's racking up some frequent flyer miles, and he's playing really well. So, congratulations, Ezra.
I hope he's got... Yeah,
get the frequent flyers.
Yeah, I think a number of players are kind of on that pace. So,
I don't know.
Good on him.
I'm happy. I'm glad that people over in Europe get to see some of our top players like Ezra, Niklas, Ricky. I think Maury Vielman is playing this weekend too. I think I saw.
Yeah, he is.
Yep, Maury Vielman. He's the third highest ranked. Lauri Lehtinen, Vinyl Makala, Daniel Davidson, Ezra, Una Heinonen, Matt Bell, Kevin Jones. So it's got a pretty decent turnout, and as always, you can see it on Disc Golf Network.
Okay.
Yeah, which means you'll wake up. It'll be great. You'll wake up and you'll get to watch MPO, or if you want to wake up way early, you get to watch some FPO action.
Big shout out, someone who's on the list, and he was on my list to say anyway, but I see him on the list for playing. Maybe it's some kind of honeymoon. Raven Newsom got all knotted up this last weekend.
Oh, that was his wedding
in the matrimony stuff to none other than Sarah Dodge. A.K.A. Steve Dodge's niece, which is also Todd Dodge's, who's been a huge part of the initial up and comings of the Pro Tour. Todd Dodge's daughter. So Sarah,
greatest cameraman ever, I heard.
He'll tell us that.
I know, that's what I heard. I heard it from him. Said one of the greatest cameramen of all time.
One of the greatest guys for sure. And he was never short of hustling or contributing.
Put in the work.
And he's one of the two Boda brothers who, of course, then made the Birdie board game. So anyways, congratulations as the Dodge family is expanding over there. Congratulations to Raven along with Sarah. Sarah was at one point ran social media for the Pro Tour in like 2017 or 2018. She's been around disc golf her entire life, although she doesn't go out and play often. She was a photographer, helping with the tour, doing a ton of different stuff, and then ultimately has now met her man and is all knotted up. So congratulations to them. I absolutely love it. What a great couple. All right.
There isn't a lot of PDGA news. There is some information about the 5 candidates for the PDGA Global Board of Directors. So there's 2 at-large positions in July. So if you want to get to know your board potential, please go out there and take a look.
Yes.
We highly recommend that, as always. We think that you should go. You should learn all about these candidates and vote how you feel appropriate.
Do you know where you can learn more?
Where can you learn more, Terry?
Besides reading up on the website, on the PDGA website where it's announced, I will be interviewing them.
Say what?
Yeah, all 5 of the candidates. I will, in the next week, I would say, be hosting interviews. I think they're all standard questions that are provided to me. So I'm really just acting as the facilitator.
You have to ask one random question.
Yeah, like
just
like, should there be a protected division for
pregnant women?
No. I have not been given the questions yet, but I believe they're standard questions, so everyone obviously has a fair opportunity, so there doesn't appear to be any bias. I'm just really merely acting as a facilitator to this, and then hopefully getting it out there so that more people can see it. I believe we're going to have it all on my channel, on the Disc Golf Guy channel, and then we'll have links to it all. Going to try to release all 5 videos at once. Again, not trying to play any favorites, but I'm excited because the list, the 5 people, I'm just excited to talk to them all. I know, I'll admit, I know all of them. I know 4 out of the 5 relatively well.
Charlie Mead, PDGA number 1980.
Okay, yep.
Conrad Damon.
Yep.
PDGA number 2450. Laura Nagadal, right? I always forget how Nagatgal.
I'll clarify how to pronounce her last
Please
name.
Please do. PDGA number 44969.
A current board member.
Board member. Matthew Rothstein, who has a pretty cool PDGA number, 51515.
Who used to do PDGA media within the PDGA.
Yep. And the only one I didn't really know is Dustin Schreiber, PDGA number 210788. 792. So a very high PDGA number. Which is probably why I don't know him. Not to say that doesn't make him qualified, because I don't know him. Maybe he is super qualified. Maybe he's the most qualified. Maybe he's the least qualified. I don't know. But I'll listen to your podcast.
There you go.
Or the podcast to find out his qualifications.
I'll get all 5 of them. And again, there's already a biography. Read up on that, please. I'll try to put it in the chat, actually.
I won't even have a bias because he's from Illinois.
Read up on that. And I think actually, careful. I think Matt originally... I don't think he lives there now, but I think Matt originally is from Illinois as well.
I won't have a bias there either, apparently.
Yeesh.
Yeah, just one question. Like peanut butter and jelly or ham and cheese. Dumb question like that.
Yeah.
That's what I want. That's what I want to really know. The important things.
Okay. Anyway. All right. So yeah, I just wanted to put it out there. There will be 2 positions that will be ultimately filled out of the 5 candidates, and I'm super excited just to be the facilitator to conduct these interviews, just so you have another medium to consume it. Some people won't want to read any of their bio. I totally get that. And some people will think, hey, if I can just sit down and listen to them, it feels a little repetitive sometimes when they're all getting the same question, but it's also a great way to compare and contrast and say, hey, here's what this person said about this question, and then the next candidate said something you completely agree or disagree with, and it's on the exact same topic. So in that sense, it makes a lot of sense to have the same question.
If you're going to ask all the same question, can you make a super cut of like the entire thing, and then you have like your question and then each of their answers, and then your question.
You're asking me to do work.
I know I understand, Terry Miller.
That sounds like it's above my pay grade. Can AI do that?
No, not yet.
Well, if AI can't do it, I ain't smart enough to do it either.
I ain't doing it either. Then
exactly. I'm just glad that in as early as like first and kindergarten and first grade, we're getting a lot of that A1. From teaching in our classrooms, that A1. Anyway, Doc says, Terry's top question, if JVD gets a forehand, could he get 1,000 rated? I'd be interested to see what they say to that.
Ask him. That'll determine who I vote for. The correct answer is no. Even though, if my forehand were as good as my backhand is, I still wouldn't be 1,000 rated.
No, you're right.
It'd be like 960, probably.
Maybe
960, 970, something like that.
So that's out there, and again, we'll give you another medium to consume it. That's the big takeaway there. I think that's about it for regular show stuff. I think we've hit on everything. We got a little review of the big main event that was taking place. Also, I did see a post that came in late, right before we got started. UDisc has obviously teamed up with the Macbeth Foundation in a number of ways, and they have some new numbers and results that are out there that you can go check out. We say it all the time. UDisc has its value for yourself personally, but then just the stats and the data that are eventually compiled that, I look at one of the most recent courses that I just put in, that we worked on in southeastern Wisconsin, and then I get this status update on that particular course. I'm now, even though it's only been open for a few months, I can take that to the board meeting or when I'm going to have a follow-up with them and then tell them, look at where, like, there's been 20 people from different states that have all come here and played this place. All of those stats and all that data is just so impactful.
Do you think, I don't say weird, it's just awkward timing.
Yes, I'm weird.
No. The Macbeth Foundation announced their next course is in Ukraine, which is I'm not getting political on the podcast, but we can all say
I'm a Presbyterian.
But we can all say that Ukraine right now is currently a lot in the news. Not for disc golf either.
It could be though.
We got to override, peace through frisbees.
We can change that.
I'll have to take a look and figure out where it is versus what's going on. It just feels like an interesting time to have to pick Ukraine as a place to put in a course.
I'm going to oversimplify it.
Okay.
With this analogy and say, there may be a lot of turmoil with immigration and or tariffs in the U.S., but there's plenty of states that have no impact whatsoever, have very little impact, we'll say, with immigration issues. And so could something be happening there is my point. Like, yes, there's there's major things going on, but
like war.
I know, but I'm saying that isn't necessarily applicable to every inch of the country.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'd have to look at where the course is compared to like, are you west of Kyiv or whatever? But
I'm sure it's still impactful, though. Yeah, it's a fair question.
Yeah, it's an interesting scenario and timing overall. I'm a huge supporter of the Macbeth Foundation. Anytime we can get disc golf into a new place, I'm all for it. It's just interesting that is the place that they picked right now.
Yeah, and I think Avery Jenkins was just in Poland. Does that sound right? I don't know. I'll follow up on that. I think he was just in Poland working on a Macbeth-related course there, or Macbeth Foundation course there. So just love to see it spread all around.
Yeah, they're doing such a great
everywhere. Super blessed to be part of it. So, all right, we're going to call it on the regular show. We can stand down, and then when we come back during the after show, we could talk about things disc golf or non-disc golf related. And, of course, we have the weekly giveaway. We got action for you.
We do.
With that, this has been SmashBoxxTV podcast number 560. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you for all the love and the support. And looking forward to rolling into the second half and then some of 2025.
We'll let you know when we get there.
We will. Again, that's 560. We're going to stand down. We'll see you in a few minutes for the after show when you step inside the Smashbox.
Thank you to our $2 and above patrons. Your name is listed below in the credits. If you are interested in being listed as a producer in the SmashBoxxTV credits and supporting this and other fine podcasts, please visit patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to SmashBoxxTV podcast 560's After Show.
It's thundering outside right now. We've got a nice one of those good summer storms. It was like 85 degrees here today.
One of the warmest days of the year so far.
Pretty much. I think the warmest.
Yeah, it was borderline not pleasant. Because of the impending storms, there was a mugginess in the air. That really sucked.
Live a little closer to the lake, you'll be all right.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't quite as bad over here. But
near the lake that I live by, which isn't one of the Great Lakes.
It's like a pond for crying out loud.
It was definitely muggy. And with this time of year, it also is becoming a little bit antsy out there. Kids, my kids in particular, along with tens of thousands of others, ready to be checked out. Did your son, has he exhibited any?
Not really, honestly, because he's part of the robotics club as always, and their robotics season ended, except now the state they're like redoing their whole season next year. So this is like kind of like a preview. They decided they're going to have one more event, which is like a practice run for their next year, how they're going to do the new season and state only. There's a whole thing to it. So today, actually, he went back to school at 6:00 and started doing some robotics stuff again, which we thought he was done with. And so he's got today and tomorrow, and they're going to get ready for another tournament that's not this weekend but next weekend. So he's still kind of active in this thing. Yesterday we had I'm proud father moment. We went back to the school at 6:00 yesterday for his induction into the National Honor Society.
Nice.
Which I found out yesterday. My wife was a member of the National Honor Society. She asked me, she's like, "Were you?" I was like, I don't think so. I definitely wasn't.
What, to prove how ignorant I am.
And I.
Is that largely grade based?
You have to maintain or have a 3.6 or 3.7 or better. And as well, you have to write an essay to get in, and you have to have like X amount of volunteer time, which he qualifies for because he's done volunteering at a couple different places, a lot for robotics, but also doing at the local middle school in the summers, things of that nature. So he had to write up some essay for that, and him and two of his closest friends, go figure, the nerd trio, were all involved, and they were there. And in fact, there was another one of his good friends who's on the volleyball team that made it as well. It was quite a few kids that we knew, which is not shocking. He's on the robotics team that kind of lends to a smart nerd. And there were a few of them that were there that I recognized and said hi to. But yeah, so yesterday so he's been still pretty active. He hasn't really checked out much.
Okay.
Not to say that won't happen in the next couple days because he took their final like Wisconsin Forward exams and tests, and he's kind of closing that stuff out. So
yeah, there's finals and tests and projects, and then it's getting warmer, and all of those things just leading to the kids wanting to check out. Naturally, my younger, slightly more rambunctious one he gave me a whole litany of reasons why she thinks the year's done and she's checked out, even if the days and the days on the calendar don't say as much.
Well, today to be fair, today my son told me that they were in, I think, chemistry class, and they were doing tie-dye. So it's like, these are the projects you do, and apparently they've been meaning to do it for like 2 or 3 weeks, but just the weather hasn't worked out in the days they've wanted to do it. And so I'm thinking, like, you did tie-dye today.
Yeah, I mean, chemical bonding stuff.
I understand there's probably a lesson there to be learned for sure, but I'm thinking, like, yeah, this is end of school kind of thing, most certainly.
Seeing that, just quick Google says students in grades 10 to 12, blah, blah, blah.
I see a lot of high school kids that are done already.
Scholarship, and all these characters. National Honor Society. Well, that's pretty cool.
No, I was again, very proud papa kind of thing, and it's just in general the things he had to kind of do didn't seem like to get in. It didn't seem that hard, but then that doesn't take into account all the things he's done. Like,
sure,
again, he had to write a 1-page essay, had to be approved by the current board, I believe it was, and. Yeah, but when he did lay out his paper, we kind of helped him with his essay. I was like, oh, yeah, you did do that. Oh, yeah, you do that. Like, oh, yeah, I guess. You're not just some weird lazy troll that sits in your basement. Like, I kind of feel like you are sometimes.
Speaking of tie-dyeing, my friend Dave over at the Dyers Guild, I shot a couple little videos over there. One being, they've got a new set of cards, which the video I released yesterday picked up just a little bit of traction and said, essentially, do you have all the disc golf collectible cards out there? And the answer is you don't.
Of course
because
not.
He designed and worked with all the bunch of different dyers to submit pictures and photos and everything else. And then he designed the cards and then went to a company, had them made up.
Are they cards of dyers?
Disc dyers, yeah.
Yeah. Not people who are dying. Disc dyers.
Yeah, there you go.
Clear.
We're all dying.
We all
Wasn't
are.
there a senator that told us that
just
too?
recently?
Yeah. So we're all going to die. But no, disc dyers, the artistic types, that, they have their own set of cards. And there was 100 packs made. I'm not trying to sound like a commercial. I just really think it's cool that they're out there. But there's 100 packs made. And he said...
How many did you buy?
I
know you.
He graciously said, "I know you're a hoarder.
Yeah.
Here's 2 packs." And then I said, "Do I open them or do I keep these sealed?"
You keep them sealed.
All right. Well, I'll keep them sealed. Actually, I'll show them. Oh, I should get them out. Anyway,
just because they're over there.
Very cool that he said he I don't know where this happened, but he said he had them released. Maybe it's the manufacturer. Beckett, a representative from Beckett. I saw the email, legitimately reached out and said, "Hey, we see you have some new cards. Would love to know more. Is there a checklist? And we'd love to know some of the numbers on these." Which I just think, and now that could be a little bit of, AI / an alert that's set or a filter that's set on Google. Like, oh, there's new cards out there, and Beckett obviously wants to be cataloging and or grading them. I get that there's a monetary component to that, and that's in their best interest to be on top of this. But a Beckett or a PSA or whoever, it was awesome. They reached out. He had just announced that they existed, and Beckett reached out and wanted the information. And that's, of course, in case anyone wants to take these cards, send them in and have them then graded. But they're available. They're over on the Dyers Guild website. I get no commissions, no royalties. I don't have a card, none of that. I just think it's really cool that this is it like a subculture? Is that what you'd call it? This niche group that is actually very significant.
This niche group that now has a niche thing inside of their niche group.
Exactly. So meta, man. It has a set of cards. All the ones that are going to be made are made for the year. He hopes to have more in the future, but they're out and they're pretty cool and available. So it's over at the Dyers Guild. I think he was running a show. He has a monthly review show that takes place on Tuesdays of all times, 8:00. But he had a live show doing some interviews and such tonight as well. So I just want to personally thank Dave, who happens to live right by me, and we've done some videos together. And anytime you see something leveled up in video production or audio or graphics, just assume it's Dave that has helped me now, because it's clearly not me. I didn't one night just all of a sudden get good at a few things. If anything looks better and more professional, that's Dave.
So speaking of people who live near me, on Sunday, every year we go to the orchestra, the Milwaukee Symphony Orchestra. We go to the sensory-friendly version. My wife usually gets a booth there for her job. My daughter likes it. She can cheer and whoop and whatever at the symphony, and I don't feel bad when she's going woo in the middle of a song. So, which is great. I love it. I walked out of my house. My family's in the car. I'm just about to drive downtown, and I hear ching. I perked up. I was like, what's going on? I thought maybe I barely heard it because we know that down the street at the end of the block, there was always somebody who had two baskets. When we moved in, we saw that. I turn around, and across the street from me, straight this direction, I look and I see a basket, which I've never seen. Those people moved in a little over a year ago. And then I hear ching. And I see the guy who lives across. He's married. They've got a couple dogs, no kids. And I hear ching, and I was just kind of like, wow, dude's got a basket. Must have pulled it out of his garage because I'd never seen it in his backyard or anything. And then I see him as he looked like he was putting from inside his garage into the basket that was kind of on his grass. And maybe this is just like when you see something like a fellow disc golfer. I just yelled. I've never talked to the guy.
Disc golf.
I've never talked to the guy. I lived there a year and a half, and I've just never seen him outside very much. Mm-hmm. And I just yelled, "Hey!" And he turns. I said, "I got one of them in my backyard." And he's like, "Huh? Okay." And I'm like, "Is that a black hole?"
Oh, you got real friendly real quick.
Oh, I did. And I'm sitting by my car, and so I'm probably about 150 feet from him. And he goes, "Actually, it's the Black Hole Pro, a little more sturdy."
Bitch, please.
And I was like, oh. And that's when I turned and went, oh, cool. I have one. I've got a Mach 7 in my backyard.
Oh, I know. Oh, you flexed on him.
I totally flexed on him.
So flexing.
And I just kind of chuckled. My wife gets in the car. She's shaking her head.
Of course.
And I'm just like, hey, come on over sometime. We'll putt. And he was like, all right, cool. And I said, see you later. And I thought, hey, that's cool. There's another guy in the neighborhood that's playing disc golf. And he clearly, if you have a Black Hole Pro, and you're putting on a weekend, like, he probably plays.
Probably.
I would make that assumption.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair
assumption. It's a fair assumption to make. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. My neighbor has a putter. Maybe he'll come over and play. Maybe we can watch the Pro Tour together.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I made a new friend. I doubt it, but.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So I thought it was kind of cool. This guy across the street has the Black Hole Pro.
Yeah, there's a basket, a couple of baskets not far from me, down by the lake, Pewaukee, where I live, and there are a couple of really nice chain stars. And I was just telling one of my daughters the other day when we drove by them, and it's for some reason, even though I've seen them for years, like when they just barely catch my eye, I still feel like they need to point them out. And my daughter then rolls her eyes, of course.
You need to point them out, or
I point them out. Yeah, like, oh yeah, there's a basket.
See, it's funny because my daughter loves it. She was like, she heard it too, and she was like, "Disc golf? He's putting, Dad, disc golf." I'm like, "Yeah, I get it, hon. Like, now I need to hear about it."
Well, I pointed it out, and the whole point of this for probably both you and I is, at one point, if someone was serious enough that they had a basket, because there's only so many baskets that were even ever made that were portable, like, you probably knew them because the disc golf community was so much smaller. And I think that's maybe this, in a positive way, it's the, old man, lawn scenario of, like, instead of get off my lawn, like, get on my lawn. Like, you knew them, or you played league with them, or you had an interaction with them where they looked familiar. Because at one point, I've said this before, when I was at my peak of running a lot of tournaments in Wisconsin, if there's 100 people at the tournament, I knew 90 to 95 of them by name at one point. This was a decade ago, but we knew almost everyone, unless you were really, really new to the game and somehow you just appeared at a tournament. So that has clearly been lost for quite some time, not only because I'm almost never even in the state, but just we've expanded by 20-fold.
To be fair, it was rare that we saw a basket anywhere outside. For me, it was always the stickers on the car. You'd be driving down the highway and you'd see an Innova or a Discraft sticker, because that's all that really you all saw. Maybe you saw a Gateway sticker, but doubtful. And so I used to, like, speed up and try to get next to him to see if I recognize the person. Now, I bet you I see one sticker a week and I don't know who they are. Like, driving on the highway, it's like, oh, there's an end of a sticker, like somebody's car. I'm not even going to bother, like, trying to get next to them to see who it is. There's probably a 10 to 15% chance that I do know them. Mm-hmm. And as opposed to where it used to be like, you guaranteed you knew them. Like, that was just how it was. And that was just a sticker.
Yeah. So it's funny to think about what it used to be, and now obviously there's and just the fact that disc golf baskets, as I was alluding to, there were far and few between in terms of the ones that were even offered. There wasn't 10 different companies. Like, you had an Innova Skill Shot or a Ching basket, which they were previously named.
Which I have the Ching.
You had one of those, and that was about it. Like, that was one of the few portable baskets that even existed, or maybe a DGA, M14. Those were pretty much the only two portable baskets for a long time. So anything more, and if you had a permanent basket that you had in your backyard, like a permanent, course grade basket in your backyard, then you definitely knew somebody who knew somebody.
Oh yeah.
So, because that was a real commitment at $300 to $400.
Yep.
And still is, actually.
I feel bad because I never take out my Ching Skill Shot basket. For a couple of reasons. I always think, maybe I should put it in the backyard, but I don't want to leave it there all week because
you're gonna ruin it.
It'll ruin it and just rot. So it sits in my garage where it never gets used, but I don't know what to do with it. I've thought
clearly a kids program. Got to get donated somewhere.
But it's one of the, like, it's a I keep thinking, like, is there any value to it because it's so old? It's like one of the first ones. I doubt it. I'm not a hoarder.
What color is yours?
It's a light blue, like a powder blue almost.
No, you have a Mach Light. Yeah, you have
Are you sure?
Yeah, you have, because I think I sold it to you.
Oh,
you have a DGA Mach Light, which is even slightly nicer.
Do I? I thought I had.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you're right.
I think you do.
Either way, I keep
because those were the first real upgrade then to the Ching Skill Shots.
Yep.
The Mach Lights are also have been great.
Yeah,
and now there's again a dozen of those that have come along since then. So
I just keep thinking, like, what do I do with it? Do I bother to put it out? Do I get rid of it? It just sits in my garage. I really should give it to somebody who may use it. I don't know.
But. Yeah, are those? I was going to say, are those still currently made? And they, I think they pretty much still are. Yeah,
it looks very similar to that, but a light.
You had one of the early light blue ones, and then they came out with the green and the.
You're 100% right. That's exactly what it is.
The green and the orange.
I've taken it out maybe twice in the last 10 years.
You needed to buy another one from me.
No, I have a Mach 7 in my backyard, Terry Miller.
Damn it. I think you need another basket that I can set you up with.
No, I don't think I do. Don't believe I do.
Anyway. I had a really good thought about something that's totally now escaped me.
I have a question for you that's not disc golf related at all.
My Ray-Bans. I had to reset them this weekend, which really pissed me off.
Oh, Terry.
But go on.
So, I want you to close your eyes and think of your bedroom. And think of your dresser. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
How many drawers does your dresser have?
It has... I'll answer this in two parts. It has 6.
6 drawers? Okay.
And 0 are actively used.
Really?
I mean, I'm not bragging about this.
Is it because all your clothes is laying on the floor?
They're on top.
On top.
And I do not use the dresser the way a dresser should be used.
Why not? Just too lazy to put stuff away?
I have...
You can admit it. That's fine.
No, it's not laziness. I have too much clothing.
I know that. I've known that forever.
Like, just 100%, unequivocally, too much. So coming to the next whatnot sale that I'm having.
Yeah, someone get some of Terry's old clothes. Say you were to use your dresser.
Okay.
What clothing goes in what drawer? Like,
well, that's obvious.
Is it? Starting from the top and work your way down. Tell me what you think Terry, what's in your drawers?
This isn't the first podcast I asked that this week.
Weird.
Just saying.
So, like, what is in the top drawer? What should be in your opinion? What should be in the very top drawer?
Now, I'll just say.
Let's assume every drawer is the same.
Okay, and you're going in a vertical
top
sense.
To bottom.
Mine happen to be. Mine is a little bit more stout like me. It's a little flatter, shorter, and it's kind of a horizontal one in that it's got 3 drawers and 3 drawers.
Okay.
Like, instead of like just 6 going straight up and down.
Okay.
It's got 2 sets of 3 that are at the exact same level.
So
you know what I mean? So
all right. So let's just make.
So the top 2 drawers, right and left, are obviously filled with boxers and or if they all fit in one, which they wouldn't. But the top 2 drawers would be boxers / socks.
You have that many boxers, they wouldn't all fit in one?
I have a lot of boxers.
I know your boxers have a lot of cloth, but
they if they all fit in one, definitely all the socks don't fit. And this is again, this is all part of like a bigger problem.
Yeah, you're not.
That does a grown adult male need 35 pairs of boxers?
Clearly not, but there's nothing.
But it's nice because I travel so much.
I know, and that's part of it.
And I'm pulling back the curtain a little. I plan for 2 pair of boxers and 2 undershirts
each day
for every single day. I plan for that. It may not happen, but that is what I pack and I plan for.
Yeah, if you
for
get
every
up
trip I've ever taken,
shower, and then you're on the course and you're sweaty. You get back, you want to shower again.
Exactly.
You're not putting
every single day,
stank ass boxers.
Every single day, I am
okay.
Packing for 2 sets of boxers and 2 undershirts. Depending on the season, maybe then 2 pairs of socks per day as well.
Okay, I think that was the easy one. I think your answer's right. My very top drawer is all, we'll say, underpants. Boxers, briefs, whatever I happen to have. Boxer
Speedos,
briefs, thongs.
Do you
banana hammocks, whatever you want to call them, Terry. What's the next drawer?
The next drawer is
like
probably we'll say on the left side versus right side. Let's say they're on the same sides.
So if you have one dresser, your top one is boxers, then socks, right?
No. If I had just one and it was, let's just say 6,
like mine's about 6, yeah.
5 or 6, probably 5. But 5 drawers, I would probably go socks on the very top and then boxers on the second. Those might get reversed.
I think you're wrong, but that's okay.
Those might get reversed. But boxers and socks. And then the next drawer is definitely undershirts. And then the next drawer after that, like t-shirts, undershirts that I'm going to be like, the white one I'm wearing underneath here. And then the next one beneath that is going to be shorts.
Okay. Mine is pretty close. I have, underpants, Second drawer, because the way my drawer, if they were all the same height, I wouldn't have this, but the top two are kind of shallower. So the top one's boxers. The second one's actually shorts. And then underneath of that is socks because it's a bigger, deeper drawer. That's the only reason why, because I have a lot of socks, so I have to put them in. Otherwise, the socks would go up. And then t-shirts. And the t-shirt drawer is really big.
Okay.
After that, pants.
No.
I tend to fold my jeans or my pants. Underneath of that is like pajama pants / wind pants / whatever. I don't, and again, my second one is shorts only because I only have like 8 pairs of shorts. And so it's pretty skinny, so I can get away with that. I don't want to put the shorts in with the pants. I have them separate, but I ask you this because I was
going to say,
the
world is hoping for a payoff.
There's really not much of one. I was putting my daughter's clothes away today. I was folding it, got it out of the dryer, and my wife had organized my daughter's drawers. And it always frustrates me that her top drawer is underclothing, pants, or not pants, but underwear, socks, and bras. Okay. Little kid, whatever. Second drawer, swimsuits. I don't understand why.
With you guys not living in a tropical...
There's not a pool.
You don't own a pool.
No.
Or live in a tropical area or on a beach or at a resort, and you're not sunbathing and or swimming on a 3-time or more a week basis.
No.
Then that is a much lower priority. I agree with you.
Third drawer, pajamas.
Moon boots.
Pajamas, like a bunch of pajamas. She's got a ton of pajamas. Fourth drawer, t-shirts.
Okay.
Then, I believe it's skirts, and then pants at the bottom, which annoys me. I think pants should be above skirts. We tend to wear.
I was going to say, which one gets used more
often? Pants tend to get worn more often. Yeah. We're wearing them from like October-ish through May. But it bothers me that this is now, and my daughter is very much a creature of habit. So moving things now might be out of the question. It bothers me beyond belief that the pajamas are on like the third drawer.
Yeah, I mean
that's got to be lower. You have to put pajamas. Like for me, pajamas are the bottom because they go in with like pajama pants, wind pants.
No, I don't mind those
underpants.
If they're used daily, I don't mind that they're much higher up. But the fact that any of that is quote unquote lower than swimsuits is the wrong part. Living here in Wisconsin, you guys live in Florida,
maybe different
story. But swimsuits are used a few times a year.
I understand that. Well, she'll usually like a swim class every summer, so but still, no,
it does not warrant enough use.
I agree.
Be that high up on the.
I agree, and it bothers me every time because I want to put.
Should we drag your wife down here and have a talk with her?
I'm thinking about having it because it's been this way for 4 years. We've lived in this house, and they're all labeled. These nice little pictures to help my daughter see which ones they are. And every time I go in there, I get frustrated because I go to grab the pants and they're in the wrong drawer to me, and I'm like, grr.
All this really tells me is you are now null and void of having to do any laundry and or any of these responsibilities. You are officially exempt.
I am so bad because I emptied out the dryer, brought the clothes into her room, and started folding them. I folded pretty much everything. Usually the way I work is that I grab something out of the basket, I fold it, if it's socks or underwear or bra, if it's my daughter's, I toss it into a pile. And then when I'm done folding everything, I put the pile. Usually, I'll start sorting pair socks, whatever. For me, I don't fold my underpants. There's no point. There's underpants. Who cares if they're wrinkled, right?
No one's seeing them.
No, ain't nobody seeing them. But the person I have a ring. The person that has the other ring to me. So who cares if they're wrinkled?
Me sometimes, unfortunately.
That's true. Yeah, that's. Well,
again, I don't care if your underwear.
Again, we have almost matching rings, so it's close enough. But my wife very nicely folds every piece of underwear and neatly folds these little sports bras. I don't have the patience for it. So tonight I folded everything except for those. I left them in the basket and left them in her room. I didn't bother folding. I paired up the socks. I was nice, quote unquote, nice enough to do that. I don't consider it nice. It's my house. It's my family. I need to do that. I felt a little guilty just looking at that pile, and I had time, and I was just like, I don't like doing that. I don't like folding them.
I don't blame you. I mean, as a guy that has now grown up with, grown up and fathered, two daughters who are 14 and 16. Not that I'm like grossed out or anything silly that. It's just a matter of like, there's like hardly anything here to fold to make look nice in the first place. And are you ever going to even notice or care? Because my 14 and 16-year-olds are complete slobs anyways when it comes to most of this stuff. So they're probably just going to take whatever's been folded nicely and they'll let it sit on their bed until they finally just kick it off the end of their bed and it falls on the floor and all the folding is for naught anyway. So I don't waste a lot of time with all of that.
Ed Root asks, do you fold socks or tuck socks? Tuck them.
Yeah,
you definitely tuck them. Keep them together.
You got to keep them together.
Yeah, because a folded socks ain't that thing. In fact, for me, I don't do either for my socks. I just toss all my socks into a drawer. And most of the time, I have all the same kind of, I've got more or less.
Yeah, that's the move.
I've got a bunch of black socks, which I think I'm wearing right now. Yeah, a bunch of the same black socks, a bunch of the same white socks. And then I do have like random, like funny socks. My wife got me like a set of whiskey socks, a trophy husband set of socks. I don't even pair them because I can just look in there and find
there's
them.
So few.
Like, oh look, I can just grab these two. I don't even pair socks anymore. It's just not worth it. I do it for my daughter, but I don't.
You're a regular old.
Yeah, I just.
I
think if you don't have, here's what I'll say: if you don't have socks or underwear as your top drawer, I think you're a psychopath.
Yeah, it does seem.
It just there's something wrong with you.
Well, especially for us in Wisconsin, because we're always going to be wearing socks, and I love getting to the season where I'm wearing just sandals right now, and it's just one way to avoid having to wash and deal with socks that much more throughout the season. So I can see that. I think if you lived in a place where socks aren't as like, if Webb, you're on the board, you can answer this. Like if you live in Florida. If I lived in Florida,
I could understand having socks not at the top.
I would rarely wear socks because I feel like I would wear my sandals.
I can get that, but if you don't have underwear at the top drawer, I think you're a psychopath.
I mean, that's the unmentionables and everything else that goes up there. It's where you hide an extra credit card or a few $2 bills. Yeah. No. Okay. We do things differently.
That's just a little bit you. Note to anyone, if you ever get a chance to visit Terry or in his house, don't go into a sock or under drawer. You'll probably find a thing. Go through the books. Start flipping through books. You might find a $5 bill sitting in one of them for whatever reason.
I don't think I shared this, so I will quickly. In Cambodia, bring your crispiest of dollar bills with you. And I say that because they accept dollars in Cambodia. Also, it's not the Malaysian ringgit. I forget what the Cambodian, whatever, doesn't matter. You can work in that currency, which is totally crazy because it's like, I forget already. I have some at home. It's like 10,000 ringgits like buys you a water. Like ringgits isn't, what are they? I got to look. Anyway, whatever it is, they take dollars is my whole point. And everything, there's almost everywhere you go, at least where I went in Cambodia earlier this year, you'd see two prices. It's their local currency, which I'm going to now look up. Cambodia.
By the way, Sarah Nicholson on the board, she says she only has two drawers. The top is for underwear and the bottom is for socks. And that's acceptable. I accept that.
The riel, RIEL. It's a Cambodian riel. And it's crazy. Anyway, so they always list two prices. You want a banana smoothie.
Okay.
It might be like 50,000 Cambodian reals. Or like $1, whatever the conversion is. So they'll take them, but if they're crinkled, if they're mangled, if they're creased and all this other stuff, the locals don't like to take it. I think they worry about it being fake.
Maybe.
Yeah. So understandably, they don't want to take it. So if you're ever, and I know this is the most random of advice, but now I will never forget it. If you're going to Cambodia and you just want to use dollars without switching over their Cambodian reals, which I would recommend, you have no problem doing so. In keeping your dollars, your U.S. dollars, just make sure that they're as crispy as possible. And if you showed up, I'll tell you this, if you show up in Cambodia and you have $100 in singles, you probably have more than enough money for the week anyway. You're going to do just fine. So just make sure that they're nice and crispy when you go to Cambodia.
Okay.
I was thinking about that because I like to get $2 bills wherever I can, if I can cash out at a casino or sometimes at a bank or wherever.
Common. You've been doing that for a long time.
I love handing out $2 bills. I love confusing waiters and waitresses and anyone actually that you can when you pay in cash and pay with a $2 bill, because most people that are younger than us look at it like you're crazy. Like, this is totally fake, because plenty of people haven't ever seen a $2 bill. So I'm a big fan of them. Did you hear? This may be another inaccurate TikTok.
Oh, great.
That my daughter referenced. No, but and I didn't Google it yet. Did you hear they're going to stop making new pennies?
Yes, I did hear that. That's kind of and they've talked about that. It's been floated for a couple years because it's, I guess, technically more expensive to make a penny than the penny's worth. So, like, to make a penny, I think I heard it was like 1.4 cents or something to make a penny.
That makes sense. Literally.
And versus actually having a penny.
But what about a wheat penny?
Oh, I don't think you can make that one. So yeah, I think something recent with, again, not getting political, with President Trump and Doge, they finally decided, like, we're gonna stop with the whole penny thing, and I'm okay with that. It's one of those things. It's like, if you did that, fine. Ain't nobody got the penny gumball machines anymore.
Okay, well, we'll see.
I don't know. If it really happens, we'll see.
Yeah, and will there be, knowing that now there's technically then a finite number of pennies, will the penny collector market actually do anything? Will it make either existing?
It's going to take a long time, I think, for that to happen. Like, you're talking, I mean, pennies from the 60s through current.
Well, let's just say you have some odd penny, blah blah blah.
Sure.
That is worth $50 right now. I'm saying if they end all penny production, and because you have a 1962 with a dropout, blah 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 blah, will that $50 penny? Is there any chance that it would actually impact the value of that one?
It might, a little bit. I mean,
even though they're not making a 2025 penny.
Correct. They might slightly, just based on the rareness now of new pennies, but I would think that if you're going to quote unquote collect a penny, maybe try to getting a 2025 or 2026, whatever the last year penny is, might be more valuable than anything else. But I don't think you're going to see a huge change to the penny collectible market over the next couple years.
See if there's any change made.
If there's any change made.
Here is a thought I've had for now too many years, because we know someone that collects coins and has success with it, and he happens to also have turned himself into a millionaire doing other investments. I think about some of these ginormous change jars that I've had throughout the years, as many of you do. Lots of people do. Yep. I have.
Well, where did those? Here's my question. Before you go any further, where did those jars come from? What was in those jars originally?
Mine specifically.
Yeah, because these are like, usually we'll say like
not quite that big.
I think of the one we had as a kid. It was like 2 to 2.5 feet. Like, it was a big one, and you just drop pennies or stuff in there.
Mine specifically that I'm excited to dig out someday. That's buried in a secret spot. A few of them that I have.
Underwear drawer.
No, you wouldn't be able to slide them out. They are gallon jalapeno jars. Which is all too fitting if you know me at all.
Yeah.
But they were like from Jewel Osco, which I had to get in Chicago, because we didn't have hardly any jewels in Wisconsin. We've had a few. R.I.P. Jewel Oscos. Anyway, I got like a Costco Sam's Club size gallon glass jar, and jalapenos came in those. And a few of those I turned into just holding my spare change. Obviously, you and I and millions of others are dealing a lot less with cold hard cash and change today than ever. So all of these are very old, and there's a few of those that I filled 20 years ago. Here's my whole point.
I already know where this is going, but go ahead.
I don't want the chance of ever cashing that in and having cash in then something valuable.
Exactly.
So who do I find?
You're going to be worried
that I split the money with.
That's not worth it.
That they dig through it.
Well,
you can't tell me. I might have $1,000 in change there if you just cash it in at face value. I could have three $50 coins or three $500 coins in there too.
You're not going to have three $500 coins. You might have a $50 coin. I don't know. You'd have to talk to someone who knows more about coins.
That's my point.
But even if you had three $50 coins in there, $150 out of, let's just say, $1,000 worth of change, it's not even worth it for you to go through that.
It is to somebody.
It's not worth it for you to go through.
Oh, because I don't know what I'm looking for. That's Correct. Why I'm saying, is there a service? Is there a Smashy or a person that's like, I'm a hardcore coin collector. I hand them this jar, and maybe the agreement is, if you find anything of value, we have some split on it, because they're going to discover it, and I wouldn't even discover it. And I understand that. So, but they're going to want something for their time. So there's got to be something.
I just did a quick look up of like valuable coins from the 60s to the 90s, because that's probably when you're on average most of your coins are from.
Sure.
Nothing in there for the last 10 years, more than likely.
No, for sure not.
Yeah.
No, zero.
They're the 1963 D silver Washington quarter.
Oh, I gotta have some of those.
The 1962 D silver Washington quarter, the regular strike.
Yeah, that's what somebody knows all of this off the top of their head. That's not you or I. Somebody who's into coins. I fully expect somebody knows all of this stuff. And when they look through, it's like a needle in a haystack, but they look through this mountain of coins. There's got to be some excitement of like, oh, I'm going to find a
1961 Lincoln cent that's worth
$16,000.
Can sell anywhere from $3 to $238.
Bingo. No, I'm not giving that stuff to the bank. Or a Coinstar?
Again, if I would look at this and be like, oh, the 63 D silver Washington quarter for $16,000. Of
course, I don't think I have one of those, but I could.
Not. Of course not. I would look at the overall value, and it's like, how much is it? Is it worth? Is like this double die observed Lincoln cent for anywhere from $100 to $500? Maybe you've got one in there. Maybe. I don't know. It's, to me, you're thinking like, okay, I'm going to split this money with somebody if they can find, like, cool. It just doesn't seem worth the effort unless you have a list of a few highly valuable things. Let's say you have the top 10 list of like, these are the most valuable coins I want to look for.
And that's what I expect somebody to know.
And then you go through that.
Nah, I don't got time for that.
Oh, then it's not worth it to you. Then you just change it in. Then you just change it in.
I think it's time. It would be for somebody who would be excited about it.
No one's gonna be excited about going through your old change.
Oh, BS.
No, I disagree. No, I disagree. No one's excited. You don't think
Chris Heron would want to go through my coins?
No, I don't think it's worth his time. Because the odds of finding something here are so slim that it's not worth your time. Why aren't you at the beach right now with a metal detector looking? You have just as much chance to find a more valuable ring or necklace on the beach than you do going coins.
So while you're at it, just give me all your. The next time I come across a set of cards in an abandoned house, I won't bother looking for a Honus Wagner. I'll just throw them all out. Just throw them in the garbage.
Difference. That's different. No, you don't go into every abandoned house looking for cards.
No.
If there were cards there, you would take them. But you're not going through every abandoned house. That's what you're talking about, Terry. I'm going to go through every abandoned house in Milwaukee and look through the walls for hoping to find buried treasure. The odds of it are so slim, just like the odds of your coins. It's not worth your time to do.
I don't think it is worth my time.
It's not worth anyone's time.
But I think somebody would be excited about it.
No one's excited about that. Nobody.
I think a coin aficionado collector would be excited about it.
No one's excited. You have.
I'm not saying losing their shit over it. I'm just like
5,000 coins, 10,000 coins in there. Let's just say 5 to 10,000 coins. You're one of 1,000 people that probably has that.
Sure,
maybe more. It's just so not worth anyone's time. No one's gonna be sitting there like, here's a penny.
I disagree. That's like saying, oh well, somebody's.
If you're not gonna do it yourself, don't expect
somebody's throwing out their disc collection. There's 1,000 discs that they've had for the last 20 years, and somebody just threw it away. They threw them in the dumpster. You're saying you wouldn't bother going through that dumpster?
Of course, because Of course you would, because every disc there has value. If
Well, every coin has value.
okay, cool. If I threw 500 pennies in the garbage, would you go through and look at all those pennies?
Do I get to keep them?
Sure. If I threw them in a dumpster, would you go in and if I told you
Not if there's other stuff in there.
Terry, I mean, let's just say it's just a newly emptied dumpster. It's not
Okay.
clean, but it's just newly emptied.
Would I crawl in and then scrounge up the 500 pennies? Sure.
No, I don't think you would. I don't think you would.
If there's nothing else in it.
I don't care.
It's not dirty and nasty.
Oh, I said just newly emptied. It's not cleaned.
Yeah.
It's just newly emptied.
I don't know.
If I told you there was a 1 in 1,000 chance that there was a $500 penny in there.
That there's a what? A 1 in 1,000?
1 in 1,000 chance that there was
That
a
there's a $500 penny in among the...
And among the 500 pennies I just threw.
Oh, I'm definitely looking then.
All right. Better man than me. Because I'm looking at that and going,
We live on different pay grades, remember.
not that different, Terry. Ain't that different.
Doc says, Terry, how much in super chats to right now call Hannah Macbeth and tell her you heard she's a coin nerd? Tell her you want her to go through your coins and split the rewards on the rares with her.
I don't think Hannah's a coin nerd, is she?
No, I think that's
Just
part of the
just
shtick.
randomly?
I will say this: I can't take. Well, you can keep super chatting. In full disclosure, I called Hannah Macbeth on the way to the show today.
I was actually thinking about Hannah because when I was thinking of doing the laundry folding,
Okay.
I was honestly thinking like Hannah would have an interesting perspective because she's got a brand new child, and setting that child up for success is putting their clothes in the right order versus creating a future psychopath.
That's true.
Like I don't want little Pablo to have his pants on the top drawer and then suddenly think that's normal. Then he becomes you might as well throw him in jail at the age of 13.
Might as well become a pickleball pro at that point instead of disc
I'm
golf.
just saying, it's I don't want to set the kid down the wrong path.
I had different questions for her, and it wasn't related to.
Your questions clearly weren't as good as mine.
It wasn't related to coin collecting, but she didn't answer. Is really my point. So I'm gonna. But go ahead and super chat anyway. We'll see. Maybe I could try her again. We'll see if she's tried to call me back. So many questions there. All right. Switching back to disc golf for just a second.
Oh, lame.
As you were talking about someone down the road, I was thinking of a different scenario.
Okay.
A friend of ours that we do know plays disc golf that does live down the road.
Who is
not
it?
far. PDGA 7257.
Oh, yeah, that gentleman.
Him, Steve Held, along with a bunch of our other buddies, were victorious in winning the team invitational that took place up at Sandy Point Resort this last weekend. Team Alliance, which is a team that I used to captain and then recruit people to come play for. It is a 8-team event with 12 competitors per team, 12 seeds. So 96 total competitors up there. When it was all said and done, Team Alliance, which is the team that Nate Doss has been on, that I used to captain and be part of, now run by Matt Parker, a friend of ours. They went into the finals after the.
So they went 7-0. They won every one of their matches.
Yes. You play 5. Well, let me start it up. You play 2 12-hole matches in the morning on Saturday. So it's a 24-hole course. You play 12 holes against one person. Then another person in your group, you play another 12 holes. So those are 2 separate match play matches. Then in the afternoon, you have a lunch break. In the afternoon, you go back out, and then you play 36 consecutive holes. So you pick back up where you left off earlier in the morning.
It's a relatively
probably.
shorter course.
Yeah,
it's
shorter course. And,
heavily wooded.
You play a 12-hole match against the one person you didn't play in the morning. And then you play against the other 2 new people that are on your card. So you've played 5 12-hole matches, 60 holes of golf at the end of Saturday. So 5 matches, and then Sunday morning you have 2 more matches, and then the top 2 teams out of the 8 advance to Sunday afternoon where you play an 18-hole match against the other team. So your top 2 are in the final, so to speak. Those are your 2 cashing teams. And by the end of Saturday night, they had gone 5-0.
That's what I originally saw.
And with that, and with the way the rest of the numbers worked out, even if they lost both matches that they had remaining on Sunday,
they were a lock for the finals.
They were a lock to be in the finals, which is obviously a great place to be going to bed Saturday night. No matter what happens the next morning, no matter if you enjoy yourself that night or not, or stay up really late, whatever, they were for sure locked into the finals. That's obviously not always the case, but with the way the numbers and the wins they had received already or earned, that locked them into the finals. I think maybe one of the most surprising components of the weekend, not necessarily that the Alliance, who's a front runner year in and year out, the team that made it into the finals with them was also the home team.
Yeah, the first time Sandy Point made it to the finals, and they are the home team, so we're talking 25 years worth of playing. They've always kind of been a secondary thought of a team. They might have one or two like decent players that come on and play, but overall, it's never been a priority for them to put together a killer team.
Yeah, they've tried, and
they
attract some superstars and have had great talent, but their team hasn't typically been filled out from end to end with the top talent. And
this year, for the first year ever, they made the finals.
Yeah.
And they had the likes of Juliana Korver and
Yes.
Jim Oates on their team. I think Jim Oates played the Masters. Masters
could
field.
have played Masters or Grandmasters.
He might have played Grandmasters, but he could have played
Grandmaster
Masters.
spot. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm fairly certain it was Grandmasters because our friend Johnny Rumble played against him. So now that I think about it.
Okay.
And
Rumble might not have played Grandmasters, though, but maybe.
Either
way, it doesn't matter.
I'm fairly certain he did.
Yeah.
But anyway, Juliana Korver was on the team, and so they went into the finals against Ranch.
Yeah, the Sandy Point Ranch, Sandy Point Resort and Sandy Point Ranch, Resort and Ranch. Anyway, Disc Golf Ranch. So congratulations. When it was all said and done, the Alliance, who, like I said, I've been know most of the players very well, and the teams continue to evolve year after year. They're regionally based for the most part, but then some other people have been brought in that aren't from a region.
The Alliance isn't regional at all. It's trying to get the best players.
Yeah, and to be fair, the Alliance never really
was. It never was.
Really was regional,
and it's become less and less regional as the event has gone on over the last 10 years. I've felt.
Yeah, and I feel like
there's a few teams that still
most of the teams. There's a team or two that has come from Minnesota, one that sometimes is represented from Michigan, who were front runners for a few years, and then various parts of Wisconsin. So I wanted to get that out there. It's one of the greatest weekends of the entire year, for
cool.
sure, and very, very happy that it's not only happening, but some of our good friends were able to take it down. So congrats. If you're there, that's cool, just to be there. Even if you take last place, it's a very unique experience. Many of you will liken it or know it as the Southwest Team Tournament. It was Mike and Michelle Cousins who owned Sandy Point Resort in northern Wisconsin, near where Adam Hammis is traveling to and grew up. They really mirrored and completely copied the tournament from the Southwest Team Tournament, which many of you know about as well. That's taking place at Morley Field and other places or whatever. So it's a very similar concept.
So, question for you. Say you had nothing going on that weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the teams reached out to you. Not the Alliance.
Ooh.
Let's say it was Ranch. Ranch would make most sense just because they're friends of ours.
Mm-hmm.
But any of the teams, Team Burr, Mad City, Minnesota, they reached out and said, "Hey, Terry, we're looking.
We really need a mediocre.
We're looking for a Masters player.
Masters player.
I mean, mediocre. This is again a short-wooded course, something of your forte. I've always said it kind of doesn't matter this course. The best players are going to play, but honestly, I could go up there and beat Nate Doss at any given weekend. It's just the way the course works. It's heavily wooded and short. Anyone can get good kicks and bad kicks. You could be on your game. If you can hit a 250-foot straight shot and you're playing, you're going to score. That's just how this course is. So let's just play pretend. Someone says, we need a Masters player, Terry. Would you play for Team Madison? Would you come in? Or are you dead set? Because we know usually the Alliance, which is kind of the team that you originally headed, is full. They usually have good players. You're not invited.
I'm not good enough.
You're not good enough to be on that team anymore. Yes.
Yeah. I would entertain the idea of playing for a team that I probably had some kind of connection, because there's
only two teams you have connection to.
Exactly,
probably.
and that's
Ranch and
yeah,
Alliance.
because not to say I couldn't make or be friends with plenty of other people. But let's face it, I don't know the Minnesota people nearly as well. No. Not to say I couldn't have a good time. You usually stay in the cabins on site. You spend a lot of time with your team. That's all part of this experience. And I'm not saying I couldn't handle that. And I can't make either new friends or strengthen relationships I do have. But it would feel a little different to be there and be in, we'll say, the Minnesota-based cabin, as opposed to one or two cabins where some of my much closer friends are located, and then me competing against them. So would I entertain it? I would entertain it, but I don't know. There's a little competitive spirit in me too that thinks, have you assembled a team that has a legitimate chance of pulling off a win? Mm-hmm. And that would certainly factor into me. If I saw a team that I really didn't feel was going to be competitive at all, no matter what I did or didn't do, I'd be a little less excited about it as well.
It's hard to say because, as we know, they went into the finals and they came out of the finals tied.
Sure.
6-6, like 6 wins, 6 losses. It came down to the number of holes each team had won, of which the Alliance was at like 104 versus like 68 or something, whatever that number is.
There was a tiebreaker.
There was a tiebreaker because the people who won big. The people who lost, it was tight. It felt like so. The winner ended up being the number of holes. But so anything can happen considering the ranch was,
of course,
whatever. So.
But no one. Also, if you just look at history of the last 30 years, like you said, the ranch has never been in the finals.
No,
and you wouldn't necessarily expect or have picked them to be either.
Yeah, the team that I played on the first year won. So, and we weren't expected to. And true. In the second year, we made the finals and lost to Minnesota.
There's and that event has had various evolutions throughout the years as to its seriousness and competitiveness. At the end of the day, ultimately, it is a really good time and a very special place to be. So congrats to everyone that was there. I'll say that again. Extra congrats to our Team Alliance friends. And then congratulations. There's a couple of people inducted, either officially or somewhat. They were inducted into the Wisconsin Hall of Fame, which is also held on that property up there in northern Wisconsin. Roundhouse, John Lutzow, who goes by Roundhouse, he was inducted in the Hall of Fame. He was present for a short ceremony of sorts, so congratulations to him. He is one of the gentlemen that you often see going to Africa right now every year to try and grow a lot of the disc golf scene in Africa, and he's going from Wisconsin over to Africa to do that and has been doing it for, I think, 4 or 5 years. And then many of you know John Dorn, who has done copious amounts of artwork for majors, for world championships, for MVP, for a ton of different people, including tournament stamps for me for multiple decades. John Dorn was inducted in our Wisconsin Disc Sports Hall of Fame. So congratulations to both of them who were officially announced in that capacity this weekend. Real quick, easy one. Doc Zen asked, what am I drinking? Good, bad, or indifferent, right or wrong.
Looks like something Starburst.
I'm going to die one way or another. I've been hooked on these for a while.
What is it? Oh, this is Starburst. Yeah,
it's
same pink.
This is a sparkling ice that has 0 sugar with vitamins and antioxidants. I'm getting younger as I drink this, right? And it carries just 5 calories. So that's what I have. I love these. I specifically love this flavor. It's funny because I hate strawberry Starburst. I will go out of my way not to eat the strawberry ones. I like the cherry ones. Yes, the pink ones.
Really?
But yet, out of all the flavors that they make...
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
They make like 10 flavors of
You keep your pants in the top drawer, don't you?
I love the Starburst one, which many people will take a drink of this, and they will say, that is so sweet, I can't stand it.
I like sweet drinks. I'm not going to drink it, but I like sweet drinks.
I've been hooked on these for a while now, but just 5 calories and 0 sugar. I'm not getting thinner.
We slightly tangentially related to disc golf through only because he was at an event last year. I did see, Ed Root brings up that Magnus Carlsen was beat this past week by the current world champion And you could see his frustration when he lost. He like pounded the table and then thanked him and congratulated him. And I saw a really cool video of the two of them over the last like 3 or 4 years about every time this other guy lost to Magnus Carlsen. They would sit and have a little conversation, and kind of maybe Magnus would be like, oh, this and this and this is how he should, and then finally the guy ends up beating him. Yeah.
I almost made the reference earlier when we were talking about Gannon and AB, and I didn't see, Gannon slam down AB slam any chess pieces around. But yeah, it was definitely made a lot of headlines, so to speak, this weekend and around the socials. And then today I saw a new updated angle, not only of it finishing, but then him walking out and a little more of his reaction of just the sheer disgust that Magnus had while walking out of the competition. And understandably,
he lost.
And that's not something he's really used to doing, just in general, I realize. But yeah, certainly a big moment in the chess world. I am not any kind of chess player.
Me neither.
When chess.com came around last year, I got within moments. I don't know what delayed me.
I almost played.
I almost signed up and got an account and thought, well, I'll start playing a little bit. Like I know how to play, but I would not say I'm very good in any capacity. But there was that new kind of buzz around the idea of playing.
Sure.
Something my kids don't know how to do, and they probably have no interest.
My son knows how to play. He doesn't have any interest in playing. He knows the rules. But
yeah, they don't.
I tried to I'm like, oh, you want to join chess club or something dumb? And he wasn't interested at all. So.
Doc says, I got to get out tomorrow morning and try out my D2 air hopping. It's finally D2 air, hoping it's finally the disc that makes me good. If it's not, I've got one that I could sell you that will definitely improve your game by 5 to 10 strokes. So just keep that in mind. I always have that solution in my back pocket.
Patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV. That's where you can go to get Terry's D2 Air giveaway disc or something.
Or a baggie of coins. And you could sift through and be like, are these valuable?
Maybe.
Or do I have 67 cents? I don't know.
But if they're valuable, make sure to call Terry and split it with him because he clearly...
Well, what's that split? That's the real question. That's the question at the end of the day is, what is that split worth? I hand you a bunch of coins. You're going to go through them because you're super passionate about coins and you're just excited about digging through a set of coins. I know this is a big stretch for you, but somebody out there wants to. What is that split? If you find a $500 coin, what split do you need to get in order for this to even be remotely appealing? You're a bad person to ask, though, because you don't want to do it.
No, if
somebody really wanted to do it, be like, yeah, I'll dig through your coins. I'd love that.
Based on the odds of me finding something, if it's a $500 coin, I want 400, maybe maybe 450.
Damn, you want almost all of it.
Yeah, I'm the one that sat and went through all the crap when you weren't going to bother.
Yeah, but I provided the coins.
So, I mean, I think that's only fair. Like, cool, you get more than
that's only fair. Okay.
You get...
What is the board thing?
If it's a penny and I give you $50, you're getting, what, 5,000 times the value of a penny? What you wouldn't...
Yeah, I don't think the penny, though, is
or
the
I
point.
pocket it, I don't tell you, and I put another penny in there, Terry Miller.
I'll know.
Woo!
I'll know.
Congratulations.
I'm gonna set up some decoy coins that I know are valuable in there, and then see if you're honest with me. What is the split? You guys tell us on the board.
At least 400 of that 500.
Damn.
Least.
No.
Yes.
Okay.
Ain't nobody doing it for anything less than that. On the
I was thinking way closer to maybe a 50-50
split. Get bent.
Huh.
You can take that penny. I'll tell you where to stick it.
All right.
Anyway, you can stick all your pennies into patreon.com/SmashBoxxTV.
We only needed 100 each week.
That's right, 100 each week. 100 pennies. It ain't much. You can go. We'll go through them one by one with you. And you can be eligible for a weekly giveaway. Ed Root, I promised you I'd let you tell me the sorting. You said my last name, but unfortunately, all I have is full name, first and last. So
well, you could parse that out if you really want to get your your Excel skills.
I don't have those Excel skills right now. It's too late. I've already had at least one drink. It ain't happening, Terry Miller. So Ed, you have about 30 seconds from now to tell me
what number.
I've got name, address, email,
overall contribution,
weekly contribution. If you can tell me what you wanted to sort by, I'll do that, and then before I draw. But otherwise, if you sign up, you can be eligible for our giveaway. We give away at least a disc every single week, sometimes more.
Disc and a few pennies.
Yep, and depending on what you sign up for, you can be eligible for different
He wants
things.
it by email.
By email.
Do you want it ascending or descending
Ascending
by
or
email?
descending?
Because Ace Run Pro, I feel like, is way up near the top if we're going that route versus does Exhibit
Exhibit that would be
the rapper
Exhibit at gmail.com is probably near the bottom, Terry. Unless you went with like pimp my exhibit at gmail.com.
MTV Cribs Studio pimpmyride.com. All right, so he says email, but we need to know if it's ascending or descending that you want it by. We'll wait another moment for you to chime in with that.
The air discs are sweet. You'll love it.
Okay.
Oh, descending would be different. Okay. I'll do descending. Descending by email.
So Ace runs out on top along with Adam Schleiss.
Zach Pajic is the top. I won't tell you his email, but that's his name. So he starts with a Z.
Pajic. Yep. Okay.
All right, so
let's. Warren, you're up near the top, so you better hope we're the first
looking
couple.
for some low numbers here. Terry, we have 104 people eligible for our giveaway this week. How should I generate that? I'm going to take 95% of whatever.
Then I'm just going to give you my 2 cents, and I want the second number.
The second number. All right, the first number is 2.
Oh,
sorry. And the very next number we generate is 41. 41 is our giveaway tonight. Let's scroll down to 41. It is Mike Rikus. Mike Rikus. Congratulations, Mike.
Relatively new supporter.
Yeah, he's only been a supporter for about, I'd say, a couple months. So congratulations, Mike.
Big Mike getting it done.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you for being a supporter, Mike. We will get that email out to you, and I'll get it out to Terry. He'll reach out to you to get your address, and we'll get you that disc. So thank you very much, Mike, for being a supporter.
Look at that. Paying off already. Paying off.
Yeah.
In pennies.
Do you have anything else tonight, Terry?
No.
Any random questions you need to ask? Any other ways we can find out which people are psychopaths?
No, I don't think I have anything else too crazy. Okay. I did quickly run out, which is a way that I missed out on some of the Pro Tour action this weekend. I quickly ran out for a round of golf, very spur of the moment, and ended up calling up my neighbor Dave over at the Dyers Guild, and we ran out and played a quick round at Valley View this weekend. And
what day was that?
That was Sunday. And managed to shoot. Well, we could argue if it was 10 under or 11.
Oh, okay.
I managed to stay bogey free, which you always should do at that course. But
for the most
shot 10 under. But hole 15 is that's up the hill, kind of slight turnover toward the parking lot. Well, it's out right now because they're doing construction to kind of fix all the.
So you threw to where the basket would be, and
no, I did that too, and I definitely parked it if the basket was there. But no, they had one of the winter holes in, and we thought maybe they had 2 or 3, and we're like, should we play them? Should we not? We didn't know hole 15 was missing, so we went over to the winter hole, and there was only one there. Well, that one must be making up for
15,
which we didn't know at the time because that's hole like 12. Well, we did go play it, and I did birdie it.
So then that counts.
So in my opinion, I shot 11.
Okay, then.
But you just did only 10. I'm going to have a fight with Dave because my U-disc.
You should probably you should have a fight with U-disc.
Yes. Yeah. So that was some just a major issue.
Major issue. I could hardly sleep at night. It was difficult.
Somebody just ordered some boxes, which I'll have to get shipped out. And I'm going to dox them. Box docs. Adam Hammis reached out to me today. Adam, your boxes are on your way. My disc in a box. I know that Gavin Rathbun. I know that Double G. I was on a whatnot of Greg Barsby's last week, watching him sell some discs, and he's talking about it. So I do appreciate anyone and everyone that wants to use my boxes to ship out discs securely, so they stay nice and intact And Adam Hammis is going to be shipping out some discs to people. I don't know what he's selling, but I know he's had some pretty big sales, and it looks like he's going to be using my boxes. So I'm happy about that. I think that's about it.
Okay.
For now. I've got other random stuff that I can't think of, so I'm going to start thinking of that new name for the Northwest Disc Golf Championship. I'm putting that on my plate.
All right. I have no input for you here.
Go out, watch Chiang Mai Open. Final round releases in just a few hours, so watch that, please. I hope you enjoy it. It was a lot of fun to be in Chiang Mai again. And then in a day or two after that, the final round of the Khmer Cup in Cambodia is going to release. So all 6 rounds of my Southeast Asia tour essentially will be up now within the next day or so. All 6 of them are going to be out there, and that was all timed with the 2026 news for the Southeast Asia tour that's taking place in 8 different places in the early part of 2026. So,
and real quick, Doc, or I don't think it was Doc. Oh yeah, Doc asked, "What's a winter hole?" A winter hole. A lot of our courses in Wisconsin, you're awkward.
Depends what crowd you go with.
In Wisconsin, due to melting and things like that, they tend to change the courses at some of our local establishments. We call them winter holes, which is just a different area of the course that you don't tear up the regular course. It's just so we tend to call them winter holes. We've got a few courses in the area that have, spots that have different positions in the winter versus in the summer. So
and like Johnny said, it's usually it'd be one thing if it's just a different pin position on a particular hole, but it's usually an entirely different hole. For instance, at our premier course in the area, we have 27 permanent holes during the summertime.
Dretska.
Out at Dretska Park. There's 27 holes that have been there dating back to the 90s, most of them. And then all 27 of those pins come out, and we literally have an entirely different 27-hole course that we call the winter course. And it's in a slightly different section of the park, obviously, but it even uses and goes over top of the adjacent ball golf course. So that's why we can be out there, because the ground is completely frozen. There's going to be snow on the ground, and we're not ruining their ball golf course, where they would never in a million years let us have those holes there during the summertime. So we're very fortunate in that sense at that particular very heavily trafficked course that the regular course gets a little bit of a winter break. And then we have an entirely, and it also helps with just overall variety. It's pretty cool that if you live in the area, you have 54 unique holes to be played.
The winter course is usually a little bit easier than the summer course because you're playing probably in a snowsuit and boots. So
things of that nature. And yeah, a lot of, and in this one particular park that I was just talking about, it's also the hole 1 and hole 15 and 17 and 18 are in kind of in the same territory as where sledding happens during the winter time. And so rather than having the baskets there possibly get in the way or damaged or decapitating someone, the baskets are removed. And then same thing, there's a little extra space off on a different section of the course where then we transplant those baskets over to, so you could still go out there and play an 18-hole course. Just a few of the holes are in different.
Yeah, it's like 2 courses in one park, basically, if you're lucky.
Yeah, kind of. So,
or they just pull the pins, and then you have to wait until May.
Yeah, there's a lot of that as well. So, yeah, but good question, very legit. Thank you to you guys, so many of our regulars, as always, out here. We appreciate the love and support. We appreciate you guys tuning into our silly questions and scenarios week after week. Hopefully, we provided an ounce of insight that's actually valuable somewhere. I don't know where, if it's the regular show or not.
It's not valuable at the bottom of your coin jar, that's for sure.
There is something valuable somewhere in this 2.5 or 3 hours, I promise. You just have to really dig for it. For Johnny V, I'm the Disc Golf Guy. That's SmashBoxx TV Podcast 560's After Show. We'll see you next week when you step inside the Smashbox.